Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Oh, man.
Okay, so we got a special podcast today. Let me lower the volume here while Adam is telling me about a girl he broke up with because he didn't like her name.
Her last name. First name.
Tragic.
Her first name.
Her first name or her last name?
Who's her first name?
Her first name.
Anyway, today's not about me, though.
So Jose wasn't, you didn't. All right, so today's guest. We got a lot of things to cover. We got Elizabeth Pipko in the house, who's a former model, 2016 Trump campaign staffer, who was the founder and president of the Exodus movement, which is committed to fighting the rising anti-Americanism and anti-Semitism of the far left, as well as promoting support for Israel. Thanks. Good to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell us your story. Tell the audience your story a little bit.
Okay, it's a long story, but I'm going to attempt
to
shorten it.
Give us the shorter version of it, yeah.
I grew up a daughter of immigrants from the former Soviet Union. Okay. Very proud Russian Jew in New York City. Went to Orthodox school, synagogue, the whole 9 yards. Everything my family could not do back in the Soviet Union. Around 11 years old, I discovered that I wanted to be an Olympic figure skater, which was very random. My mom, being the best person in the world, moved me to Florida to the only coaches that were willing to train me. I skated about 6 years, 10 hours a day. The whole nine. Was asked to go to the Olympics for 2014 for the team of Israel. Then I destroyed my ankle and was told I would never walk again. Took me some time to get my life together, right? Moved back to New York City. I was discovered by a photographer, signed with Wilhelmina Models in a few months. I went back to school and modeling and somehow ended up in politics. And now I'm trying to combine all of that together.
How did that happen? How do you go from modeling to politics? Because those two typically don't collide.
Figure skating, modeling to politics.
Right.
Topic, right? What's that movie, Topic? Well, Cutting Edge?
The Cutting Edge, yes.
Yeah, Cutting Edge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a great movie. Hold that up. Cutting Edge,
You said former model? You can't say...
Yeah, I'm actually modeling now.
Still are.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has to still be a model.
Still got it, girl.
I mean,
I still got it.
Yeah.
Who with? Who are you modeling with right now?
I have two agencies, one here and one in Atlanta, and I'm actually more successful now than I was a few years ago.
Let's go.
I will take it, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So tell us about politics and modeling. How did that happen?
I worked for Donald Trump in 2016
That's problematic in that.
Right, only a little.
Yeah.
Only a little. On his presidential campaign. Somehow ended up there and kept that a giant secret so I can continue modeling. Obviously, secrets nowadays do not last. That came out. Ended up in politics.
45% of working women
Rob?
ages 25 to 40.
Rob?
He's like, this is the
no,
most
that's the left. That's the
story
left
ever.
trying to interrupt her from
No,
as soon
Rob's
as she,
on Instagram.
as soon as she said she
But
supports
go ahead.
it.
You were saying, so you it was a secret, then it got out.
It got out. A lot of people, I think, on the right were very excited that like a young Jewish woman was, I guess, on their side and wanted to utilize that. Still not thrilled about a lot of the opportunities that came my way, but I tried to make the best of it. And then realized I think I'm a little more center than I originally thought. But somehow I was allowed into that world and given a giant platform, and now I'm trying to combine it in a way where I can still model and do politics and whatever else I wanted.
So I'm curious. So tell me, like, what was, as somebody who's modeling, you're in that world. I have friends. I'm from LA, so I have a lot of friends that are in that world. And it's, you got to kind of follow the rules and guidelines of what they have. How did you all of a sudden say, I like what this guy has to say, Trump? And then what's the transition into now wanting to become a little more independent?
So the first transition, I was in New York. I lived a few blocks from Trump Tower. I had known who Donald Trump was because he ran Wallman Rink, I believe ran and owned the figure skating or the ice skating rink that I started skating at when I was 10 or 11.
Very strategic move.
Yeah,
Smart.
right. So that's the only thing I knew about him, honestly. I had seen him like give out medals at one of our competitions.
You literally
10
knew
years
nothing
ago.
else about him but that.
I knew that, and the fact that he had a TV show that a lot of my friends watched, but I never watched. That's
So
all
Donald
I knew.
was the guy that owned the place that we go to, and that's about it. That's Mr. Donald.
He didn't own the place. He built the skating rink that the city was unable to build, apparently. It was a very big deal, I was told. If you look at like any of my skating photos when I was like 10 or 11, just like the giant word Trump behind me, because he likes to put his name on stuff, obviously. So that was all I knew. I thought he was different and cool and angry. And as someone who was told for 6 years that I was never going to skate again, but wanting to get back on the ice, I thought it was pretty special watching a guy kind of be laughed at every day, just tell the world he's going to be president, despite being at 1% in the polls. And I think that got me, and that was it.
The fact that he was an underdog.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even policies. You related to the fact that he was
just the underdog.
So then you go and you're like, okay, I'm going to help this, be part of the campaign. And then at one point, are you kind of like, yeah, I'm really not a Republican. I'm more of an independent. What happened there?
I think growing up in New York City, realizing I was more right than a lot of people, I thought I was right-wing or like right-leaning, but it turns out just if you're a centrist in New York, you're assumed to be right-leaning. That was all. I liked that he was pro-America. I'll give him that. Like when I was first starting out, it was like America first and that's it. And I liked that he was an underdog. Like that was it, just like the underdog story, because I needed that in my life. I think I met a lot of people around him that were more right than him, but I still kind of see him as a centrist. And I think when compared now, even to DeSantis, people are starting to realize he's possibly even more electable than a lot of people on the right. I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. But I don't see him as right as I think a lot of people do. I definitely don't see myself that way either. But
interesting.
It's like a weird space to be in, I think, to be common sense nowadays, because you're assumed to be right.
Let me ask you a question about New York, Elizabeth. So I just was there this weekend, and I love New York, but for a weekend, right? So you said that for New York, you thought you were right wing. It just turns out you're a common sense, moderate, normal person. A lot of people are fleeing New York these days at $30 billion of tax revenue left over the last few years. We just had Rudy Giuliani on the podcast, 2 weeks ago, the mayor who cleaned up New York City. In New York City, I mean, maybe it's because I'm just conscious of it these days. There's so much LGBT flags going around. I saw trans, they're out there. The trans community's out there just parading, stomping. My question to you is so you're a moderate, but in New York, you would probably be considered right wing, MAGA,
crazy.
Yeah, you'd be a lunatic there. But how do you grapple that? Right, like the lunacy seems to be coming from that side of the aisle. Yet you're the bigot, you're the weirdo
the
for
Nazi.
not just being a normal person. How do you deal with that?
I mean, I don't mind it, honestly. It's like a weird space to be in because there's people I'll talk to here who think I'm like way too far left. So I don't mind it. It's kind of nice. I go back and forth quite a bit, so I don't mind the balance. I think I'd get pretty sick of it if I stayed in one spot and realized how much I didn't fit in. But I feel like the whole country is just secretly a country of outsiders, so I don't mind it at all. And I don't feel like you should get bogged down because in the center of New York City, the center of the entire world, there's a lot of people that might disagree with you because if you go anywhere to the left or the right, they're going to be on your side.
So I'm curious. I know it's not an appropriate question to ask, but I think it's public. You're how old? 1995. You're June 26th. Get out of here. That's Brooklyn's birthday. Yeah. My daughter's born on June 26th.
Awesome.
It's our anniversary as well, June 26th. Okay. So you're 27, about to be 28. Okay. So 27, Harvard Extension, Harvard, University of Pennsylvania. Are you doing Wharton or are you going just to UPenn?
I'm at the School of Social Policy and Practice. I have my last class tonight, actually. For my master's.
You're done with that? Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations. So here's my question for you, because we don't know what it's like. All our ages start with the number 4, and some of us would like to say starts with a number 3,
39.
but it's all 4. We're all in the 4s here, fully committed. He just turned 40.
For the third time, yeah.
For the third time, yeah. So
it happened again.
But the question is the following. You said I was, I was more, Trump camp and this, that. And I realized I'm not a Republican and independent. Is anything with school, teachers today that you're still in school, have they influenced any of your policies or your views while you're going to school in a season like this?
I don't think my views, because I've gotten very lucky with doing school partially online, taking my time, taking a little longer than I should have. Obviously doing work on the side that would probably change my mind about anything they would tell me. But I've seen, the things I've seen in school. I don't want to say anything as I'm still in school right now, but you can't. It's very hard to escape without being completely radicalized. Like every class has some kind of undertone of liberalism.
Class.
Everything. Yeah.
So that's the part,
What are some examples of that? Like when you say the undertone, how much of it is under the surface? How much is full on explicit? What have you experienced?
The actual students, very explicit. Before I went to Penn, I spoke to an alum because I was very curious about the anti-Israel sentiment on campus. And I mean, she warned me kind of what I was kind of expecting, but a little afraid of. I think that's the worst part, like the anti-Semitism, anti-Israel bias. That part's really scary. I think Columbia and NYU are some of the worst in the country, which is crazy because New York is full of Jews. That's kind of all I knew. I didn't know how few Jews there were in the country growing up in New York because I thought everyone was Jewish. So that's pretty scary. But I mean, it's hard. It's every single class, and it's from current events to like, Roe versus Wade being overturned, meaning that we're mourning in class instead of studying, to literally to
that's what we don't know. We were mourning when Tupac died.
That's what
we were mourning.
Yeah, that was.
The teacher even was sitting there saying, "What a sad day."
I think my friend at NYU said when Trump won in 2016, they all wore black to school for 2 weeks because it was America's funeral.
Wasn't it? Yeah,
So,
and they literally started bringing in emotional support, like ponies and. Like literally, they brought them. They had like sessions where people.
What did one of our girls here said that she lost friends because she didn't post the black Instagram square, and people there. She's like, "Why don't you post it?" It's like, "What do you mean? Why didn't I post it?" It's almost like the pressure to have to post it.
Yeah,
my kids right now are going through the age where there's bullying going on. Okay, and. Dylan doesn't get bullied.
He choked me out the other day.
Dylan's the one that is the kid everybody wants to be friends with.
Yeah.
Because he's like, if you're friends with Dylan, you're scored away. He gets the girls, he gets all that stuff. That's Dylan. He's got the energy. Senna is the center of all attention. She's like in the class. She's a girlfriend everybody wants to have. So Senna's friends are the pretty friends and all this stuff. Brooklyn is home kicking it with Melva and Papa. She's chilling, right?
Yeah.
But Tico is going through the phase at 11 years old where things are happening. People are saying things. Conversations are being had. It's being pushed. He's coming home. He's asking the questions. Why did they say this? Why is this happening? And you have to know if a person comes home today and they don't have somebody to talk to reason with, most of the time, unless if this kid has got a strong backbone character at that age, you're going to cave. Because your entire MO in school when you're younger is to what? To conform and to be popular. You want to be cool. You want people to like you.
Right.
You want to be like, man, they don't like me. Well, she said I'm stupid. She said what a dumb thing. And you're like, oh my God, she said that and he said this. So you're so much trying to join the club. And imagine like, even if when we went to school, how much do you remember when we went to school? How much do you remember politics being involved?
Zero. I didn't because me and Pat were both in the military. I didn't know what left or right or anything was till I got out and I moved to Los Angeles. Then I was like, holy shit. Like the Trump situation made me go, oh my God, is it that bad that they don't want to lose that control and that power? Did you hear anything in school about left or right?
I don't remember. I mean, listen, it would happen. Some things would happen and, people would make their comments, but to be everybody dresses black in school because of what happened, Trump and Roe v. Wade, everybody's mourning instead of it's got to be a weird season today. One lady I'm talking to who's one of the most powerful recruiters in the insurance industry, she's the executive. She hires C-suites for companies. So she hires all the C-suites for companies. We're having a conversation. I said, half the battle right now, she's a little older than me. Her kids are in their 20s. I said, the challenge with parenting today is the goal is to make sure you don't screw your kids up too much, okay? Because it's like you're having to deal with how hard it is to be a parent today, but it's got to be even much harder to be a kid today.
Oh, my God.
From the angles you're being targeted. Was it like that for you in high school as well or not really?
I went to high school online because I wanted to go to the Olympics. But in middle school, I was bullied really badly. Not over politics, but I ate lunch in the bathroom for months. I was really bullied. So thinking back now, if that ended up being political, I don't know what I probably would have done just to get to eat lunch with my friends.
Did that toughen you up a little bit?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it is what it is. Favorite figure skating movie?
Ice Princess.
Ice Princess?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course. There aren't that many to choose from.
Yeah. Oh, and then favorite figure skaters? There's somebody that you like a lot?
There's a Russian skater named Yevgeny Plushenko, who is the reason I started skating. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, there's I remember there's a picture of me and Mary Lou Retton, and I'm introducing her, and I remember I'm standing next to her. I'm like, Mary Lou Retton. She was like, I don't know how tall she is. She's got to be like 4'10" or 4'11".
She's a gymnast. They're even smaller than figure skaters.
Figure skating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who's the one? Mogaccini? What's the one?
Domenica Mucciano.
Domenica Mucciano.
She's a gymnast as well.
Yeah,
you got your sports.
Yeah.
She follows the podcast. She follows the podcast. We on Twitter we go back and forth. No, but Mary Lou Retton, tiny. Are figure skaters also tiny? Like
they're pretty small.
Okay,
yeah.
you're not small though. You're tall.
No, it wasn't good for me. I was supposed to do pairs actually because I was so tiny.
Yeah.
And then after I got injured, I came back and I'd grown probably like 10 inches and gained like 80 pounds. And I realized all that was out the window.
Done. So height doesn't help in that world.
After 5'2", you're pretty screwed.
Yeah. Well, it helps in modeling, though. It's a complete different space.
I'm like a tiny bit too short for that and then too tall for
So you're right in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's why you go into politics.
Yes, where I'm also right in the middle. See?
Yeah, but some people would say you also think Trump's in the middle, and that would drive some people insane. Today, people
Which is
think
why it's funny.
People think Rogan is a Republican today. He's far right.
Someone said that to me yesterday. They're like, yeah, that guy Joe Rogan, he's like super strong, like far right guy. I'm like, Joe Rogan? He was a Bernie Sanders supporter. But we showed this on the podcast the other day with the cartoon stick figure thing with Elon Musk.
Yeah.
About basically how far the left has gone. And you can make the case that some of the people on the right have also are a little far gone. But I think if you're comparing apples to apples, yeah, this thing right here, the left has kind of lost their mind a lot of times. This thing right here. Yeah, 2008.
Tweets about American. Can
you scroll in on that? Punch in.
Center. Yep.
So nothing's changed. It's just a lot has changed. But center went to the right, and a bunch of the people on the left are kind of like now seen as Republicans.
Because you constantly hear things like, if JFK was a candidate today, he'd be Republican.
Let's hit some issues.
So would Bill Clinton.
You good with that? We're going to some issues?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so first issue I want to hit up is what happened with you and your ex over the weekend, Chelsea Handler. So this is pretty wild. You text me in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I look at this, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So apparently Adam has triggered Chelsea Handler where her team made a video, edited, with Adam responding to Adam as an alpha man. And you should see what she had to say. Rob, please play this clip, and we'd like to get a little bit of reaction.
If you guys are easily triggered,
from
don't watch.
3 men in their 40s and somebody in their 20s.
If you're easily triggered, don't watch.
Go ahead, play this.
45% of working women ages 25 to 45 by 2030 will be non-married, no kids, single. Okay, so you might say, well, what's wrong with that? Okay.
I'll tell you what's wrong with that. Nothing. I usually don't do things like this, but when I have to listen to men talk like that, I have no choice but to sedate myself with drugs and alcohol. Lately, I've been loud and proud about my status as a single, unmarried, childless, wild woman. And apparently some men cannot handle that. Every time I go on Instagram, I stumble upon SDE morons like this guy pontificating about how unhappy women like me must be.
If you think that you're going to be 45 years old, no kids, not married, and that you're going to genuinely be fulfilled in life because you made money, best of luck to you, honey.
Right. No, best of luck to you, honey. That clip was posted to an Instagram account called Alpha Motivation Zero. You got the zero part right, because anybody that follows that account is getting zero Pikachu. I'm sorry, but if the child-free joyride I'm on triggers you, here's a hint. If you need daily alpha content to remind you to be alpha, you might not be an alpha. Take it from an alpha. And the truth is, studies show that single women live longer and are happier. You want to know why? Because they wake up every day and they don't have to listen to like you. Anyway, I have to go because my single, unmarried ass is about to perform at my sold-out comedy show. I'd invite you, but there are no tickets left. Bye.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was your first reaction when you saw that, by the way?
Well, does anything scream, I'm so happy at chugging vodka at 9 a.m.? I'm so happy with my life as I'm funneling vodka as soon as I wake up. Yeah. So clearly she's triggered. Clearly, if I'm in her position right now, I'm doing everything I can to justify my life's decisions.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where don't get mad at me, Chelsea Handler. Get mad at the facts. All I was doing is reading a report from Morgan Stanley, pretty credible source. They gave a report called the she economy, right? Not the economy, the she economy. And essentially what they did was state some facts about how modern day feminism has, I guess, empowered women to, work, get that bag, make that money. That's great. But what are the ramifications of those decisions? Well, the ramifications is you might end up like Chelsea Handler, alone, single, no man in your life, and just banging a bunch of random dudes that you meet on Hinge and Raya and Bumble. And if that's what you want out of your life, follow the Chelsea Handler path. But if you want to be a beautiful feminine woman like our friend over here today, maybe you balance having a career, but also understanding that you should also be a feminine, beautiful woman. Last point, she called herself, take it from an alpha. No dude wants an alpha chick with packing BDE telling him what to do. And I responded on Twitter, I don't know if we could pull that up. I said, maybe that's why guys like 50 Cent, Joe Coy, and the chef, whatever, I forget, Bobby Flay, basically hit it and quit it. Because, yeah, they'll bang you out, Chelsea, but they're not going to wife you up. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think that is the what a woman is looking for. Newsflash, honey, men don't want alpha chicks with BDE. Maybe that's why 50 Cent, Bobby Flay, and Joy K hit it and quit it. At 48, your beauty and humor, for sure, have faded. You drown yourself with alcohol and drugs to sedate your sorrow. And then I took a line from Wedding Crashers, now go comatose for me, baby.
What do you think about this?
That was a lot.
It was.
I don't know about the hitting and quitting it situation. I'm not a guy. That's possible. I don't know. I got married when I was very young, and people seemed very unhappy about that.
Wait, you're still married?
I am still married. I know, right? I didn't say happily.
I didn't say.
Wow. There's still an opportunity, Vinny.
Okay, I'm back.
Didn't say happy.
She said not happy. Okay, I'm back. No, I'm joking.
So, but what do you
How
think
old were
about
you when you got married?
I was 23. People
very
thought
young.
I was absolutely batshit. Most people thought I was pregnant, which I was not. I don't know. I think it's weird. I think the entire world seems to be very big on encouraging people to do things that might make them feel better about themselves so that everyone can be miserable together. Like, that kind of seems like what it is. From like middle school, people were bullying me. People really don't like when anyone does something that might make them happy or different because they want everyone to be miserable together,
You know,
Misery loves company.
By the way, do you know her story? Do you know what happened to her when she was a kid?
Chelsea?
Yeah. Do you know what happened to her when she was a kid? So apparently, I was actually like curious to know, like, why is this girl so, she does not seem happy. And then you see some of her clips. Happy people don't try to convince people they're happy.
Right.
You know how somebody who is, what happened, Adam?
No, he's pulling up another.
You know how somebody is, trying so hard to convince you that they're good or they're happy or they're successful or they're smart. There's typically a very deep insecurity, pain. There's something there, right? So, for example, you ask Michael the question, who's the greatest of all time? Michael says it's unfair because there's a lot of different guys that came before me. He never says I'm the greatest of all time. You ask LeBron, LeBron says what? I'm the greatest.
Best. I'm the best.
It's a different perspective. This girl's brother died at 7 or 8 years old, and a family had such a hard time with it that apparently they stopped, paying attention to her, and she went through that pain as a kid of what happened there, okay? So you don't become like this by accident. She's gone through numbers of therapy sessions. Conan O'Brien had her on talking about why'd you have a guy pee on you in the middle of the ocean and you post a video. There's a video that came out live about her with, sex tape and all this stuff. I really wanted to be out there. This is an older tape. It's almost like a person you talk to that offends you first in case you are going to make them feel bad, to kind of, belittle you to feel better about themselves. You kind of feel like she's going through that. And quite frankly, here's a challenge. How many followers does she have? Go to her account, Twitter. How many followers? Just click on a link. What is it, 7.8 million?
Yeah.
7.6 million. She gets a lot of eyeballs. A lot of people follow her. She's admired by people from that space. If you actually go to the tweet that she tweeted and read the comments under her. So go to the video that she tweeted and watch the comments. So it's not like she's alone here. Zoom in a little bit. So is he wearing a suit to a misogyny discussion? Oh, man. Okay, there you go, the first one. The reason I chose to be single is because of men like this. There's an overwhelmingly large number of men with, what is it? Maturity of, what is it? Maturity of babies who think it is my job to be the mother. Is it shocking I would choose fun vacations, doing stuff with friends and making money over that? And then some guy responds back, LOL, you let random men online dictate how you live your life. Remember your interview with Kumani, and all you could do is focus on the facts that he's a Muslim if it was strange. Anyways, so there's a lot of people. I'm almost 49, childless, unmarried, and quite happy to not have to pick up after a jerkwad man. I have my dog and cat for the company. And I have it. I mean, that's the world.
Yeah.
So
I have my dog and my cat.
As long as she's got a vibrator, she's happy as hell. That's the comment right there.
That's what she said.
And Pat, that comes from too, Adam. You guys know this. She was on the Chelsea Handler show, which was like successful, and she was out there.
Used to be very funny 20 years ago. Yes.
Hilarious. The writers were dope. Everything was on point. Once that window closes, then you got nothing going on. You're sitting there drinking. She has to come at people like you to make herself relevant again. I'm really good friends with Joe Coy, and I think that whole going on tour with him and we're dating and everything was just to big up her name, to draw his audience. Mm-hmm. Now she's selling out places again because of that stuff. That's how Hollywood works, bro. She's not relevant. Now she's relevant again.
Nobody cares about what she does with her. I generally don't care. Live your life, get married, don't get married.
Yeah, whatever.
I literally could care less about it. I don't wake up and think about Chelsea Handler, but who I do care about are the women that I speak to. We all know I do a show, Soscast, that I interview hundreds of wide variety types of women. Yeah. I've had women in their 40s break down in tears crying, basically saying, I'm alone, my eggs are frozen, I don't have a man, I used to be hot, now guys don't look at me the same, I was fed a crock of shit by feminism, okay? But taking it a step further, I also interview a ton of model volleyball that I was just at. We did Rolling Loud, we did Ultra, we just did Tortuga. Interview a ton of women who are all in their early 20s, in their mid 20s, and they're going down this path. I don't need no man. I don't need, like all that. And to see the writing on the wall of what the future will hold, I think is what I'm most concerned about. Nobody gives a shit about what Chelsea does with her life. It's the fact that her 8 million followers or whoever's going to her show are going to be fed this bull crap. And when I see women cry, break down, wish that they had a better life than what they have now, I think that's the biggest problem. By the way, do you have that clip about her day in the life of a modern feminist?
We played it a month ago. I don't want to play it again. We played it. It's pretty
But that to me
cringe.
is indicative of what's going on. She wakes up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
She says she takes an edible, masturbates, goes back to bed at noon. Then she flies to Paris and she meets a random dude on Raya, bangs him, then, just lives her life. Then she basically puts on a VR set of goggles, goes into the metaverse. She's not a real person.
Yep.
She does this stuff to capitalize on an audience to make money. The problem is if you're a gal who's just an accountant and you're focused on your career and you're 43 and you follow Chelsea, nobody cares about what you just you go home to your dog, your cat, your vibrator, and that's your life.
And you know when this is gonna catch up on her? When she's in her, let's say 70s, 80s, hopefully she lives that long, and she's not feeling well or shit's going downhill. No kids are going to be there. No husband's going to be there to help her. Who are you going to go to? You're going to just have help that you pay for when you want somebody that loves you and is genuinely caring for you to be there to help you. Because what is she? She's almost 50?
She's 40.
It ain't, it's happening.
She
it's
looks
coming.
Like she's 49.
Yeah, because vodka, that's what vodka does.
That's exactly. Well, this goes back to a deeper issue. Remember the Wall Street Journal story we talked about, the decline in American values?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
About not wanting kids, not wanting family.
So somebody asked a question. And I think it's important for you to respond to this. So somebody said, okay, Adam, so you're saying she's this, she's in her 40s, she's that, she has no kids, she has no this. You're in your 40s, you're not married, you have no kids. Why can you judge her, but people cannot judge you? That was a question that was asked. I think it's a very good question for you to respond to.
I think I get that question all the time. Are you basically saying that men and women are the same? I think it takes a while. It takes years for a man to mature, to reach his status. They say that men are success objects and women are beauty objects. By the time you're 40, Chelsea, your beauty has faded. No, have you ever seen the sexual market value chart? Men are judged on their resources, their money, their age, their income, their game, their personality. There's a whole host of things that men are judged on, okay? Women, 80% of the chart is their beauty. Newsflash, guys like pretty women. All right, you're a model. Congratulations. You wouldn't be modeling if guys found you unattractive. That's what men are judged on. And I speak to so many young guys out there that are 19, 20, 25. They haven't hit their mark yet. Women aren't paying attention to them. They have no money. They have no game. They have nothing. I'm like, dude, it takes time to marinate. Women reach their success on the front end, okay? I know plenty of girls in Miami that are 21, 25, who basically get invited on yachts, billionaires' yachts, just because they're pretty. I'm sure you've been there. You're on Palm Beach.
Yeah.
You get it. No dudes are getting invited on yachts. You need to work your ass off to buy the fucking yacht.
Yep.
Okay? So men and women are not the same. And the difference is my outlook, my perspective. I'm not that dude being like, I'm single, bro. All I do is smash, and that's what I want to do the rest of my life. It's like, no, I've had my fun. I've done it all. I've made money. I've made connections. Now I'm actually looking for the next phase of life. So no, the two are not the same. At 43, now I'm at my peak money, financial status, my work, and now I have what is known as options. Chelsea is completely out of options.
Are you saying she's your type? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I could see
Maybe
something
20
together.
years ago, Chelsea.
You like her,
Sure.
and is it like, do we need to say, Chelsea, if you're watching this,
I would
he's
love
free,
to have a conversation with
he's
Chelsea.
free.
Sure.
It would be great for you guys
The
to go on a
chance of
date.
me wifing up a 48-year-old has-been Chelsea Handler is non-existent. If she has a younger 24-year-old sister, holler.
Okay. All right. So any comments from your end, or can we skip to the next story?
No, we should skip to
Let's
All
get
right, so
serious.
let's go to the next story. We have to put
can
that
I say
out
one
there.
thing here?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are going to cut this up and be like, he's a misogynist. He hates women. I love women. I hang out with women. My best friends are women, like other than my actual guy friends. My co-host of my show, female. I love women. I get along with women. I'm friends with women. This is not misogyny, okay? It's I want to see the best for women, and I don't think Chelsea Handler's outcome is the best for women.
Okay. Good. Get it off your chest.
It's it. I'm good.
Say
You
woosah.
sound a little like Donald Trump. You know?
You're done.
No
If
one
it's a-
loves women more than I love
Nobody
women.
love
loves
women.
them. I love that ball.
I grab them by
Yes.
the...
You know what?
All right. Okay, so let's grab this next story here. Kanye West, who lost fortune after anti-Semitic tirade, says he likes Jewish people again. That's kind of good news for
I
you.
think he deleted that already,
hear.
didn't he?
This is
It was an Instagram post.
Yeah,
I think
it was
he
an
deleted it
Instagram
already.
post.
I think he
And
changed
then
his mind already.
Nick Fuentes was paid apparently $30,000 by Kanye West's presidential campaign, and that's a story that just came in when? Is this?
That's recent.
That's yesterday, The Hill. So let me read this story to you and see what your thoughts are on this. So Nick Fuentes was paid $30K by Kanye West's presidential campaign. Federal Election Commission filings revealed that 2020 presidential campaign of rapper Kanye West was paid far-right activist and white supremacist Nick Fuentes over $30,000 for archival services and a travel reimbursement. According to data from Federal Election Commission, he launched a long-shot run for president in 2020 alongside former President Donald Trump, despite openly being a Trump supporter, and earned about 60,000 votes on Election Day. Fuentes has been labeled a white supremacist by the Justice Department and is known for his racist anti-Semitic rhetoric. Kanye has also come under fire for anti-Semitic comments. What are your thoughts on this story?
I knew that Fuentes was working for him. I think we all kind of saw that break a few months ago. Fuentes is an absolute monster. Like, truly, I think I've seen a few of his clips explaining in terms of like cookies in an oven how 6 million Jews could not have possibly perished in the Holocaust. That's just the beginnings of the things that he says. So he's absolutely just despicable. I don't want to know how he got to Kanye. I don't know what happened to Kanye. I was a giant fan of Kanye's growing up, and up until recently, listened to his music all the time. I loved skating to it and working out to it. And
Really?
he was kind of like the underdog inspiration in his own way as well.
Relate
Like
to the
I've
underdog.
always, yes, I've loved Kanye forever. So very disappointing. I launched a Holocaust education project in honor of this whole situation called, you can find it at educatekanye.com. But yeah, it was really disappointing. I think he's going through something because normal people do not only want to associate with Fuentes, but want to hire him to make him president. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think if something's off or sick, then we should just let him get help. But
Do you think Kanye can do anything to, because apparently this whole story about him watching Jonah Hill, whatever the
21 Jump
story,
Street.
21
Yeah.
Jump Street, and kind of changed my mind, like Jewish people again, all this stuff. And this was a story about a month ago or 3 weeks ago. Do you think, he can do anything to get back to who he was before, or is this a permanent career, done decision that's going to ruin him for years and years to come?
no, I think he can come back.
He
I
can
think,
come back.
America loves an underdog, but I think people love when people grow up, apologize, take responsibility, and move on. And I think this is a very easy thing to apologize for. There's no reason he can't say, hey, really was going through something, had no idea the garbage that was coming out of these people's mouths. I apologize, and I'll visit a Holocaust museum. I'll focus on writing music and making amends and take it from there, one day at a time.
Is it kind of like if he wrote a song instead of Jesus walked, he says, Jesus never walked?
I might do it.
He says Jesus was a Jew, and then he gets the maybe that's
remix.
like the next remix he does.
Yeah.
To see what happens. So there is a possibility that in the future you could figure skate and listen to his music again.
Yeah. I mean,
possibly. That's a tough one. You don't sound committed to it.
He's known for his music. He's not known for politician Kanye West. So I will always admire his music.
All right. Okay. Adam, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, of course.
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes specifically. Well, I just covered a story that he did with my friend Pearl. Pearly Davis, Pearly Things, massive YouTuber in the Manosphere Red Pill space. And she invited him on the show. And listen, when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And you sit down with a guy like Nick Fuentes, who is 24, and now he's the expert on the Holocaust.
Right.
Okay? By the way, it's interesting that Kanye is able to thread the needle of, because white supremacist, anti-Semite, so it's like Kanye will, he'll tune out the anti-Semitic stuff. Well, I'm sorry, tune out the anti-black stuff, but just kind of focus on the anti-Semitic stuff. It's like, I know you hate blacks and Jews and dogs, but I'm just going to focus on the Jewish part with you there, Nick. So Nick, I think, actually reached out. What was the situation, Rob? So I basically responded to Pearl, and I was basically like, look, Pearl, stay in your lane. If you want to be in the dating red pill space, why get into debates over the merits of slavery or the accuracy of slavery and the Holocaust? It's like, what's the benefit for your specific career? Do you know who this girl is, Pearl Davis?
I don't, no.
Okay, I'm sure you've seen her online if you take a picture. But I basically was like, your reputation is who you are, even if it's not who you are.
Right.
So Nick, you ever seen this girl?
Oh, yeah.
She's like, okay, gotcha. So and I think Nick said, hey, I'm not a white supremacist. What was the response?
Well, Nick's camp reached out, and they wanted to see if you'd be interested in sitting down with him. The quote was, he's being smeared as a white supremacist by Adam, but I am one of many examples of proof to the contrary, as I am a black man. And this was his middleman, his representation.
And what is Fuentes? That's a Latin last name, right? He's Latino.
Possibly,
Fuentes,
yes.
And he's just saying outlandish shit.
Yeah, well, it's not like I put the word white supremacist out there. You Wikipedia the guy.
Wikipedia
you Google
saying
the
he's a
guy.
white
It's the
supremacist.
first thing. The American white supremacist political commentator.
Yeah, I don't.
So all I'm doing is reading.
I'm not defending the guy at all, whatsoever. But be careful when you're, saying just because Wikipedia says something about somebody that's who they are. That's not how I judge it. What has happened is, if these stories are surrounding you, there's a reason for it. Some of it is probably because you're trying to get eyeballs. And I saw him, I think, in one clip. If this is the same guy that he was following Ben Shapiro while he's crossing the street with his kids, I think is it the same guy?
I think so, yeah.
Listen, if you're doing that to get the eyeballs, great. You worked. I mean, it's working for you. People are talking about you. But there's certain things, I don't know if you want certain things to be your identity out there. So maybe you can come on a podcast. You guys can talk to each other about it.
Look, maybe I'll bring him down to the Holocaust Museum in Miami Beach, and we'll sit down and have a cup of coffee right there. Or we can go to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and let's see if that's something that he'd be open to. Maybe you'd like to join us.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll discuss.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Trump and DeSantis. I know as a model and somebody that goes to University of Pennsylvania and you're about to graduate tonight, your last class, are you comfortable talking about this, or could you get an F if you give commentary on it? So let's get right into it. Trump holds wide lead over DeSantis among Georgia GOP voters in 2024 primary poll, despite the ex-president's endorsement flops against top state Republicans last year. Okay, so this is a story from The Insider that just came out. Let me read some of the highlights of this story here. So poll of likely Republican primary votes in Georgia found that former President Donald Trump leads former Governor Ron DeSantis 51 to 30 in a potential 2024 race. The survey also found that Trump retains an average with the party's most conservative voters, as well as those who are older and those who do not have a college degree. DeSantis performed better in the poll among Republican college graduates and was competitive with the Trump among higher income members of the party. The poll showed that 89% of GOP voters said the recent indictment of Trump by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office over his involvement in a hush money payment to the adult film actress Stormy Daniels shouldn't bar him from seeking the presidency again. What are your thoughts when it comes down to Trump and DeSantis for 2024?
I have a lot of thoughts just because I live here and this is all anyone ever wants to talk about for some reason. I think DeSantis is severely overhyped. I think people really want to move on from Donald Trump on both sides. Even those that love him, I think secretly dream about a time where they can go to work and not be asked about their opinion on Donald Trump. I think people think DeSantis is that guy because after 2016, people still don't understand why Trump won and really want someone to be the next something. And they think a Republican with 5% of Trump's personality could do that. They think DeSantis is the guy. I don't see it. I don't think this is going to last. I think the indictment, unfortunately, is probably one of the first indictments Trump's going to see. We saw what happened to his poll numbers after that, and I think that's what we're going to see for the next year.
Okay, so you're 27. You're about to finish, MBA. Is it you're getting your master's?
It's a master's. Yeah.
You're about to finish your master's. You're married. You're living in Palm Beach and New York, back and forth. What policies, what matters to you the most today when it comes down to a candidate? So if you were to say, at this age, where I am, who I am, this is what matters to me. I want to see this. What would those items be for you, those policies be?
Honestly, it's weird. If you asked me 6 months ago, I could list a bunch. And now I'm just like, let's not go into war with Russia and China. Like, I'm just scared for what the hell is going to happen to America. And I want whatever comes after Joe Biden to actually protect us from the world, which really wants us dead. Like, it's that simple. So I'd say whoever can keep America safe and keep a country in existence for my future children, that's number one right now.
What's two?
I don't think they're in order. I'd say foreign policy-wise, America first, very simple. When it comes to in the country, I think, for example, keeping something like abortion, like I consider myself pro-life, but I think keeping Americans kind of stable and not arguing over how far left or how far right we can be based on whose administration is in power, like that's a normal thing that we should be able to agree on. I think DeSantis is too far right on that, for example. We just saw that. 6 weeks. Yeah. I think Trump actually said when, I could be wrong, when Texas passed the 6 week, the same rule, I think Trump said it was a little complex and he wasn't sure if he agreed with it. So I think it was 2021, I believe. Yeah. I think a balance is very necessary. I think people really want to see the right beat the left or left beat the right, depending on, what side you're on. I just want a normal country. I want a balance. I want harmony. I want people not, punching each other in the street based on who they voted for in 2016. And I want to know that, people are safe, the kids are safe, the religious liberty is safe, just very basic common sense American values that I grew up with that I'm kind of scared are disappearing.
So let me read that story for you. And I want to get your thoughts on this. Florida lawmakers passed 6 week abortion law. This is a Wall Street Journal story. They have passed a bill banning abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy, a strict measure that indicates Republicans aren't backing away from efforts to curtail abortion access, even in the states where such efforts may carry political risk. A poll in March by the University of North Carolina found that 75% of Floridians oppose banning abortion starting at 6 weeks of pregnancy, albeit with no exceptions for rape and incest. The final hurdle for the bill is a signature from Governor Ron DeSantis, who has said he would sign legislation limiting abortion if it crosses his desk. If enacted, the bill would ban most abortions in the state and with limited exceptions, including for rape and incest and for certain medical emergencies. Since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last June, roughly a dozen states have banned most abortions. So you're not with 6 weeks.
I think majority of Americans, if I'm not mistaken, are uncomfortable with that.
They are, yes.
Yeah, it's that simple. Americans don't support this, and you want an America that's living in harmony. And when issues are that serious and that nuanced and that emotional for so many people, I don't think the whole beat the left, beat the right, debate and wokeness and, social media going viral, like all these things that politicians are focusing on right now, I don't think that's necessary for an issue as serious as abortion.
You think that's going to be a big topic of discussion for 2024? You think the left's going to use that a lot?
Depending on who the nominee is, but yes, for sure.
Let's just say an energized guy named Joe Biden is the nominee, and he's going up against a Trump or a DeSantis. How different would it be?
I think if DeSantis is the nominee with the 6 week, ban, I think it would be more prevalent. But no, people are going to bring it up for sure. I think that was a big topic of the midterms. We kind of realized, I see it going on college campuses. I see what's happening with young people, and I'd say their top 3 issues, like abortion is one of them. So.
Colleges and universities, they're talking about.
They're talking about abortion.
Yeah, well, don't forget, just during the midterms, it was supposed to be a red wave. Yeah. Right? For months and months and months, it's a red wave. This always happens. The incumbent president, when he's in there and there's a midterm election, and then what we saw happen was a red teardrop. basically.
Barely.
So they took over the House of Representatives. They didn't do anything with the Senate. And one of the major reasons why was this Dobbs decision overturning Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
There's speculation that Mitch McConnell manufactured this because he didn't want to take over. That's bullshit. I think this was uncalculated and a horrible decision by the Republicans. They should have waited until after the midterms to do this. So clearly this is a major issue, especially for women. Now, when it comes to DeSantis in Florida, this makes no sense to me, because if you're trying to win a primary, okay, you maybe appeal to the base, okay, maybe that works for you. But we all know that basically the way that it works is during the primary you appeal to your base, and then you pivot in the general election to appeal to the center. Nobody in America, there is no appetite for a 6-week abortion ban. Yeah. There's no appetite. We can have conversations about 12 weeks, 15 weeks, pro-life, pro-choice. Nobody. This is draconian at best.
Not nobody. It's not nobody. It's just not the majority. Yeah. So it's not a nobody thing when you say that. And the Mitch McConnell, you don't know if that did happen or not as a strategy. Nobody knows that. Nobody can sit there and say that wasn't the case. We're all speculating here. These are our opinions that we're given. It's not 100% certainty that we know one way or another.
Well, what percentage?
To do what is kind of weird is after what happened with Roe v. Wade, everybody in the country already knows where DeSantis stands. You don't need to do this. Like, this is not a policy to attack to get the conservative people to say, oh, he's even more conservative than I thought. I don't know if this is the right direction to go, but he's choosing to go this direction.
Why do you think he's doing this? Like, if you're his strategist, if you're his chief strategist, and you're saying, all right, you got to run to the right of center, but everyone's saying the reason that people like you is because you're quote unquote left of Trump, right of Trump. Why would you do this? This makes no sense to me.
Yeah, he also did it. Didn't he sign at like 11 p.m. in a room somewhere? He knows it's not going to be popular. Yeah. He's not a stupid guy.
Yeah. Why would you do this, Pat? 6 weeks.
Why would he do this?
Yeah, why would he do this?
Okay, you're either doing this because it's truly a belief that you have, and let's just say that's what he really believes in, based on his values and principles. They're thinking this is going to get people that weren't there for him to support him, which I believe he already has that vote. Maybe it's a position to differentiate himself from Trump, to say, hey, I am not like Trump, while Trump is casual with this, and he'll go up to whatever the number is, 12 weeks or, 16 weeks, 20 weeks. I'm not going past 6 weeks. Could be a way of him wanting certain conservative people to, say, okay, this guy's more conservative than we thought. There's so many different ways you can look at this here. I don't know strategically if this would be the policy I would touch if you want to become president after we saw what happened on midterms. I don't understand it strategically either. But like she said, he's not a dummy. He's a very smart guy. DeSantis, you know who DeSantis is? Here's who DeSantis is. You know how in a group text you're with your friends and your buddies and everybody's talking shit? Yeah. And you're sending texts and one guy sends a picture of this, and you know how we kind of send stuff we say stuff to each other with guys that maybe you wouldn't do it.
Are you referring to what is known as locker room talk?
Well, you want to call it locker room talk. I would do this. Oh, I would do this to her, and I would do that. Man, let me tell you, all this stuff like guys that talk. Yeah. He's the guy that would just do one emoji, LOL, but he would never say and engage. That's him.
Yeah.
So you have to know who he is, meaning this guy has been thinking about this since he was very young, that one day this is going to happen, and he's careful who he takes pictures with. He's careful. He's that guy, okay? This is not a Trump who's like, I don't give a shit, man. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You don't like it? I don't know. So there's a very different style. So if that's how he's branding himself, and he decides to get away from that brand, we already have somebody that's away from that brand.
Yeah.
Your brand is the opposite of Trump, okay? Your brand is the safe guy. Your brand is this is the guy that we settle down with. We have that brand. He's very safe. By the way, I think he's a strong leader. I think in a way this also helps knowing he's probably careful with the decisions he's going to be making if he does become a president. I think he will make a good president. I think there's a part of him that he'll make a great president. Later on. It's just, whether people are ready with him being there today and whether this was a good move at a time like this. I don't know. You got 20 other issues you can pick and choose to go from. You can choose the border. You can choose economy. You can choose COVID. You can go after more Fauci. You can do education. You can go after the trans. You can do so many different things This one's going to upset some people on the right that are pro-choice. So
this is, and you said it.
There's a lot of closet pro-choicers, by the way, on the right.
Oh, 100%.
Tommy Lauren made her name or lost her job with the
but
Blaze.
she's not closet, though.
No, she's
No,
not
I'm
closet.
saying
She's
that.
vocal.
No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Like, there are people that will say, I'm pro-life. But inside, listen, man, I kind of had to be pro-choice 7 years ago. Nobody, no one
exactly.
So there's a lot of closet pro-choicers that none of us know about.
Every male politician ever.
Yeah, absolutely. But more, But yeah.
So Elizabeth, if it comes down, so Trump, because you were involved with the campaign, right, in 2016.
I was,
So you obviously saw it firsthand. Trump did not get a fair shake. I don't care what anybody says. Before he won, all the investigation from Russia, the collusion to draining the swamp, and the media just turning on him. Nobody's ever seen anything like that because they all bowed down to the powers that be. If it came down to it right now, are you voting for Trump or DeSantis? If it comes down to that, left or right?
Trump, DeSantis, I would vote for Donald Trump.
You would 100% go for Donald Trump. And and besides all the the thing that we just talked about, what's your, just from what you've seen in the past?
Yeah.
Or are you just sticking to your guns because you're like he is for the people and he sacrificed everything for us?
It's like such a basic, almost educated answer, but I hate politicians. Like, I've just been around them so much, I cannot stand them. And he's a politician, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
What do you not like about politicians?
They're just rehearsed and much like we just talked about, the closeted pro-choice people. Like, they're just all horrible. Like, all politicians.
They'll tell you what you want to hear. It doesn't matter. They'll compromise anything as long.
There's not a statement or like a decision that comes out of their mouth that doesn't come from like
Give us an
polling that
example.
were shown.
Give us an example of it. Of somebody.
I was just gonna say,
like, who would be the
Ron
poster
DeSantis.
child? You think so?
All of truly any politician.
What name did you say?
I said DeSantis, but that's only because we talked about now.
You're
Anyone
funny.
before
You're
Donald
funny.
Trump, anyone after
Come
Donald
on.
Trump.
well, she's saying because he is a
Give me an
politician.
example.
Like Ted Cruz, when you look at Ted
Yeah.
Cruz, he just says what, like, he's the typical cutout board of a politician. He says what the people want to hear. You don't know who he really is as a human being. And she nailed it. I mean, Donald Trump was a businessman, but just said, you know what, I'm going to come in and I'm going to shake shit up.
I don't
and
think
he did.
I don't think Ted Cruz is likable, but I think he's a dog. Like,
he's-
I don't think he's like I always go back to if we were in high school, right? To see who the person was in high school. Okay. So if you go to high school with this guy, you kind of know who he was. Okay. If I go to high school with you, I kind of know who you were. You go to high school with Ted, you know who he was. You know who Ted was.
Yeah.
Who was Ted Cruz in high school?
Ted
Probably
Cruz-
on the debate team.
He definitely was
Probably
picked
getting
on.
picked on.
He was definitely
Very
getting picked
punchable
on.
face.
He got a wedgie a week. 100% somebody
He's
getting a wedgie.
probably guy that was so condescending,
Oh, yeah.
making people. You know who he is? Ted Cruz, a movie character. You ready? I'm gonna give it to you, and you're gonna go there.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Good Will Hunting. How about them apples? He's that guy.
God, oh, wow. Really?
He's that guy. Do you know which guy I'm talking about?
100%.
Oh, so you're
The
just
other
going to come
guy.
in here and you recite things that you read online and then boom, boom.
That's that
Got
guy.
you.
Yeah.
He
Got
is
you.
that smart, and he wants to make you look like a moron.
Yeah.
But guess what? He is still a dog.
100%.
He is still a dog.
But
He's-
but politician through and through.
I also understand what. No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think politician through and through, to me, is somebody that. I get what she's saying. There's a difference between a statesman and a politician. There's still a few of them around. You don't have to like them. There's still a few of them around. There's some of them that'll sell their soul just to have their career and all of that.
Who would you say right now, if you had to say politician, that's the
I
person?
think McConnell's a politician. I think McConnell's a politician. I think he's for sure a politician. I think there's a lot of them out there, but I think he's a politician. Schumer's a politician. Pelosi's a politician. The problem with this world is the longer you're in this world, the more you start being one, and you don't even know it. It's that
Swamp
simple.
creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, if you and I lived in a house, okay, and in this house we're living with 20 different people. You and I are 22 years old, okay? We're expected to live in this house for 6 months. It's on the beach, okay? 10 girls, 10 guys.
Oh, wow.
And it's a beautiful house, party house.
Jersey Shore type.
Drinks on the house,
Okay.
everything on the house. If 19 of the guys in this house are snorting, they're doing they're rolling, they're doing everything, how long until you are tempted to join the club?
10:30 at night. 10:30 that first night.
The point is there's power and influence.
Of course.
So the longer you're in the swamp, you eventually
Become the swamp.
You become
Yeah,
the swamp.
yeah.
Which is why term limits should be a number one priority moving forward.
Did you see that guy give a speech? He was at the podium, And he's like, you guys tell me if this is the NBA or the NFL players. You ever seen this speech?
Oh, yeah.
He goes, all right, guys, give it to an audience. He's like, you tell me which sport you think this is, the NBA or the NFL. He's like, 32 DUIs, multiple convictions.
54 seconds. Go back to it and play it.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
watch this.
Yeah, this is a great. I know what you're talking
Watch
about.
this.
Oh, this is. Oh, okay. I remember seeing this.
This is kind of validates
Can you go on to this?
Elizabeth's point.
Is it NBA or NFL?
Elizabeth, you ever seen this?
Go back so she can hear. Go
36
back.
have been accused of.
By the way, I want you to guess before he reveals it whether you think it's the NBA or NFL when he's done.
Play.
Okay.
And he
But
said,
don't play the
guess
end.
which is it? Is it NBA or NFL? 36 have been accused of spousal abuse. 7 have been arrested for fraud. 19 have been accused of writing bad checks. 117 have directly or indirectly been bankrupted at least 2 businesses. 3 have done time for assault. 71, I repeat, 71 cannot get a credit card due to their bad credit. 14 have been arrested on drug-related charges. 8 have been arrested for shoplifting. 21 currently are defendants in lawsuits, and 84 have been arrested for drunk driving in the last year. How many of you think NBA? How many of you think NFL?
Pause it, Rob.
Pause it. Which one do you think?
Elizabeth, you think it's the NBA or the NFL?
So you're going to say like United States Congress?
Yeah.
Play it.
Well, the answer is neither. It's the 435 members of the United States
there you
Congress.
Yes.
Wow.
There you go. Proving your point.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think it's
Anyway,
simpler than that.
Congress approval ratings actually just increased 5% over the last year to a whopping 23% approval. We're at 75% disapproval. Not great numbers.
No.
Their Q score.
What would it take to do term limits? I mean, because the people they're in charge of saying.
Yeah, the people that are voting for the term
are the
limits.
term limits. But don't you feel like that? I mean, that I agree with you 100%. Like when you see somebody like Joe Biden, obviously he's the worst one, but Nancy Pelosi actually speak, I'm like, you want to talk about embarrassed? I'm like, how?
They're all the same,
so
though.
sad.
You got Chuck Grassley. He's 117 years old.
I thought he
Okay,
died.
from Iowa. No, he died.
I thought he died, but
Their
he brought him
weekend
back.
at Burning is his ass
Yeah,
out there,
yeah.
just coming in and voting.
He's a hologram.
You got Dianne Feinstein, 98 years old. I mean, maybe that's generous. She might be 198.
Yeah, she's scared.
You got McConnell. You got Pelosi. You got Schumer. They're 80 plus years old running the country.
Oh, yeah,
But-
if Mitch McConnell's not an alien, then I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if age is the problem or just being in that Jersey Shore house too long. Like if
Yeah,
you start
that house,
young, you're
yeah.
still done. You should be out by 40. I
Yeah.
don't care if if you're 89 and you got an 84, that's fine.
At least that Jersey Shore house would be much funner than
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
You got Snooki out there. You got.
what do you guys want to do? You want to play bingo? You know, like I don't know what they're doing on like Friday night. You know.
I
But
mean,
anyway, so
But I don't know, Elizabeth. I gotta give you a little pushback right here.
Okay, bring it.
My grandma's 92 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
I love my grandma to death.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want her running the country at this point.
Most
Pat's
likely,
dad is one of the wisest men I know. Gabriel Bet David.
He's listening right now, and
I
if
love
I
him
cuss,
to
he's going to
death.
yell at me.
he's your number one fan, by the way.
Is
I
his
love
name
him.
Gabriel?
I love him.
Yeah,
Gabriel.
his father's
That's
name
my
is Gabriel.
brother's name. Okay.
Really?
Good, yeah.
Mensch.
Gabriel Pipko?
Mensch.
Mm-hmm.
How old is Papa now?
Turned 81 last week.
Okay. And I mean this in the sincerest way. I don't want him running the country. I want his son running the country.
Yeah.
Young, healthy, vibrant, dedicated. I want
No, I agree. with you.
Gabriel being the consultant.
I agree on
the
that. I was just
consigliere.
saying the age is not the issue.
Yeah.
It's how long they've been there.
Yeah. So you
I
want?
think it's both.
So you're saying you
For
want
sure.
the
I
son?
think it's the 80s and 90s and 100-year-olds that are running the country.
So you want Hunter Biden to run the country
No,
and do
I don't want
crack
that either.
cocaine in the White House? Got it.
Okay. No, I don't
What
want
he's
that.
saying is he wants DeSantis. Adam wants
Yeah.
DeSantis or Newsom.
Even after the UFC fight, when
I
you said you went
definitely
from
don't
Trump
want
to
Newsom.
here to here.
That was really cool when he walked in
That
the
was
UFC.
so
Trump.
sick.
I'm not going to lie. That was kind of dope.
Yeah, it was a moment. You felt him come. I didn't see him coming. You felt.
By the way,
we felt-
surprising event. Something very surprising happened, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to be shocked with. Mike Pence was booed at the NRA.
What?
Yeah, he was. Did you hear about this?
Wasn't it in
Why?
his
Trump got
home
a-
state? Too?
Yeah, it was in his home
Indiana.
state, and and Trump got a 2-minute standing ovation
Yes.
at the event. In his speech, first speech since being indicted on felony charges in New York, Trump promised to remain a loyal friend and fearless champion of the country's largest gun rights lobbying group as he seeks to be a party's nominee for 2024 presidential election. He appeared to acknowledge the crowd's frosty response to Pence, his former running mate. The NRA event was attended by several Republican hopefuls, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley, highlighting how the NRA's endorsement remains powerful and highly coveted amongst Republicans. How important is the NRA endorsement, by the way?
It's big. It's very important. I think that's why, ironically, your boy DeSantis put out his anti-Trump.
Your boy.
His anti-Trump ad. I want to say the same day, saying Trump was bad on the Second Amendment, because I mean NRA guns, like it's a lot bigger than people realize. Yeah.
It's pretty wild. You know how you think about NRA right now. If somebody is member of NRA, it's kind of like, oh my God, did you know?
Yeah.
He's part of the NRA.
Yeah.
How could you be part of the NRA? And John F. Kennedy was a proud card-carrying member
100%.
of the NRA. It was a very normal thing back in the days. Both the Dems and the Republicans wanted the endorsement. Now it's just on the right when it comes down to this. But if you were to say, Mike Pence, where will he peak? Okay, one, let's say he runs. Okay, what percent do you think is going to be his peak? Like, remember Herman Cain went all the way up. I think he had 18% at one point. Newt went to 23%, or Sanders got to 21%. Or so Ross Perot got to 19 or 20%. But what do you think Pence is going to go to?
I'll give you two answers here. Number one, I think, high single digits, maybe it's, 7, 8, 9% at best, right? 2%. Right now it's 2%. But we all know, let me tell you who I think Mike Pence is going to be. When it's, it's NBA season right now. And, let's say, the Dallas Mavericks need to win their final game in order to make the playoffs. And they're playing against the Houston Rockets. And Houston's been long out of the playoffs. They got no chance. Mm-hmm. But they want to beat the shit out of Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay? Or it's like the Miami Dolphins. They're not making the playoffs, but they're playing the Patriots. And all they want to do is be a spoiler. Mm-hmm. And they don't care. Their season's done. They know that they're not winning, but they have their sights on winning that last game of the season. Why? To ruin the Patriots season. Mm-hmm. To ruin Dallas Mavericks season. We just saw Dallas get eliminated from the playoffs. I don't think we understand the vendetta that Mike Pence has against Donald Trump. I don't think we're going to fully realize that until it gets so ugly on that debate stage with Trump, with DeSantis, with Pence, possibly with Chris Christie. We know Nikki Haley will be there, Tim Scott. We're going to see Mike Pence on stage saying, I was his vice president. He endangered my life and my family. He is unfit to be president.
It ain't gonna
if you
work.
don't think that's going to, he's going to do it.
Of course he is.
And I still think that Trump will get the nomination.
Of course.
But but what may happen, this is just my opinion, tear it down all you want, is that it's going to get so ugly and ugly and ugly that there's going to be a wounded candidate coming into the general election, and sleepy ass Joe Biden is just going to sleepwalk potentially into the presidency because there's going to be so much fighting on the Republican side of things. That's my opinion.
But when you see people like the Pences, like, you have the hell with that 2%. You have zero chance of touching Trump, let alone DeSantis. So I think all those people on that stage are either put there strategically, just like you said, to make them look like shit, so that the left even is going to learn more stuff about them to give them talking points to talk shit. You're losing that race. But Trump is number one right now. DeSantis number two. Nobody's touching. Like, so those people, is it just for their resume, Pat? Like, I ran for president in 2024. It's a lost battle before you even go in. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Why are you announcing? For what?
Listen, if you've gone in that world, the world of politics, and you're gonna plan on writing a book or legacy kids, you have to have your Wikipedia say former 2024 presidential candidate.
Got you.
Like if I was any one of you that are born here, at one point, you have to figure out a way to
run for president
and to say Vincent Oshana, 2032 presidential candidate, former presidential candidate.
Can I get it for 2020? Can we do it for this one?
I don't know if we can do it.
What? Let's do it.
But look, I think that's a part of it. The other part of it as well is a lot of these guys run because they get a job afterwards. Mm-hmm. So there's a job that you're fighting for. Remember when Trump won? The day he won, they're like, well, typically when a candidate wins, they take a week off or a month off or they don't do anything. The guy was in the office the next day.
I love it.
And he was interviewing Romney that walked into his office. I don't know if you remember when Romney walked into this office. You're like, what the hell is Romney doing? And everybody, he's just meeting, because this is like, hey, Do you want a job? Let's talk about it. Do you want this job? Let's talk about it. Okay, I'll give you this job. Well, if I give you this job, are you going to? So that's kind of like the next part. Yeah. So
meanwhile, Joe Biden's still sleeping.
90% of people are running for a job. They're not running to be president.
Got you.
They're running for a job.
What job would Mike Pence be running for at this point, though? He's already been vice president. He's already been governor.
It's easy to take shots at Mike Pence, but same people that like Trump forget that he played a very important role at that time because he brought in the side of where he was the Indiana, I want to say, conservative, safe, and some people that were like, man, I'm a little worried about him. He brought more safety in. Like, when I started an insurance company, I had a reputation of being very competitive, loud, doing my thing, and I upset a lot of different people. I brought certain people in that got those that were worried about coming over to us to say, okay, that guy's there, they're going to be fine. That guy's there, I feel safer. So it's a strategic hire that you have. So you can take shots at him all you want. The guy was a hero for a lot of Trump fans back in 2015, 2016. Yeah, I think he played his part right. It's like a player you got that you forget. Ray Allen hit the shot, he got a championship.
Yes.
Yep. Just give him the credit. Exactly. I hate Ray Allen as much as you want today. I get it. Yep. But the guy still hit the shot, got you chips.
You could make the case that he got Trump elected because he won over the Christian evangelical
think he was very
vote.
Important. I think he was very important. Yeah. What I don't like now is that sometimes this is what happens is, okay, who's more important, Pence or Trump, to get into the White House? Who's more important?
Trump.
Who's the bigger driver to get into the White House?
Not even close. Trump. Not even a conversation.
Give me the percentage of them when they won in 2016. What percentage of the success?
2016?
What percentage of the credit of Trump winning was Trump? What percentage of the credit of Trump going to the White House was Pence?
25%.
No way, guys. What are you talking about?
90-10?
It's 99-1.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, because you didn't win the, what do you call it, the primary by, you won it because it's like, this is the guy, right? And then you announce who it is. So it's 99 him, it's 1 him. Here's the problem. If you rode on someone's coattail and you go up and you flip, it's a little bit, that's what his DNA is today. That's his reputation today. And by the way, Democrats love him. CNN loves him. MSNBC loves him. He's a great tool. By the way, expect him to be on TV, 60 Minutes, CBS, ABC, all of this stuff for 16 straight months, every day. And then he's going to get a $10 million book deal, $5 million book deal. And then he's going to be the guy that's going to have a consultant, $500,000 a year job with CNN, MSNBC to do talking. Yeah. That's what he's going to be doing. Yeah. So, but it is what it is. He played. It's like Scottie Pippen. I was watching a video today about how Scottie Pippen was the guy, and then after the Last Dance, there was a big falling out between the two of them. Yeah. Because Scottie then came out and he wrote a book and he said what? He says, "What do you want to be remembered as?" "I want to be remembered as the greatest of all time." Dude, come on, bro.
That's what he wants to.
Scottie said, "I want to be remembered." Have you seen this interview?
Whatever it is, it's just.
I want to be remembered as. So
delusional.
When Robin suddenly thinks he's Batman,
yes,
you're gonna be a better Robin, being the best Robin you can be.
Correct.
Versus you all of a sudden thinking, Anyways, this just took me to a complete.
Let me ask you a question. Well, it's delusional. You actually think, you said that CNN, these MSNBCs, they love Pence now. You actually think they love him? I think they look at him as a useful idiot.
What? But you still love a useful idiot.
That's
right. What's wrong with a useful idiot?
They're like, Trump's boot-licking VP is now anti-Trump.
It's Saturday night, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
3 people aren't texting you back. One of the girls does. You love her.
How you doing?
You love her. I'm just trying to give you an analogy that you relate to.
Gotcha.
Adam just went to this last Saturday. You know what, Mary? A quick shout out to you. You were amazing.
You. Yeah. You up?
Anyways, all right. So, okay, next story. Let's go into a little bit of Chicago, okay, with what happened with Chicago. Rob, if you want to find that clip there, and then also I'll find the Tate tweet because I love what Tate said, and then how he responded back to it. So, Chicago mayor-elect condemns teen takeover chaos, but says it's not constructive to demonize the youth. Hundreds of young people descended on downtown Chicago for 2 nights of chaos with 2 teenage boys being shot during the mayhem. Chicago mayor-elect Brandon Johnson condemned the behavior but warned against demonizing youth who have been starved of opportunities in their communities. 9 adults and 6 juveniles were arrested in connection with the takeover, with most of the arrests being for reckless conduct. Johnson called for the creation of safe spaces for youth to gather under adult guidance and supervision. Johnson's past support for reallocating funds from the police department to other social services come under attack during the mayoral race, but he has since distanced himself from that position, saying he will not reduce the police budget, while arguing that hiring more officers will not solve the city's crime problems. Okay. Do you have the clip to show what happened in Chicago, Rob? If you got it. If you don't, what are your thoughts on what's going on in Chicago right now?
I mean, it doesn't look good.
No.
I would hope it's a wake-up call to a lot of people.
But how many more of these things needs to happen, for them to have a wake-up call? The people who are paying the price for this are the same ones that voted for this guy and elected him.
I mean, it's possible that's what they deserve, or maybe that's what they want. And those that don't want that either moved or vote differently. But if you stay there, you have to be okay. I mean, no one wanting to raise a happy family wants to stay. I mean, they can't remain there if that's their priority. So clearly they have other priorities,
Have you seen any of these clips on what's going on?
This is crazy.
I've seen a few, but
yeah, it's pretty wild.
Can you put the volume up, Rob?
There's literally, it's lawlessness in Chicago, bro. When cops don't want to show, Pat, cops won't go to certain neighborhoods because of the gang situation. Like, they're just like, listen, you're on your own, just take shelter and just get the hell out of there, basically. And she's nailing, like, how do you keep voting? Because, mind you, they just got rid of Lightfoot, the new guy. It's worse.
Yeah.
He's worse, but they keep voting him in. And I feel, obviously some people can't leave, but if you vote these people in and this is what you get, hey, it's on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So explain to me the context here, because I've seen some ridiculous clips here. This was an organized teen takeover? Was this
just a bunch of teenagers saying, you know what, we're gonna organize and just go raise hell, burn shit down, and just nobody was shot, no innocent person was shot or nothing. It was just like, hey, let's just go down there and cause.
And what
mayhem.
fueled this? Are they? What are their demands? Are they angry about something? Did something happen?
No, there was no killing. There was no nothing. Yeah. It was just, you know what, F the city and let's just raise holy hell.
Rob, can you pull up that video of the mob beating up that woman trying to enter her house?
Yeah, and I'm talking about look how many people are beating this girl.
Not this one.
No, not this one. You did it right before.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it right there. Look at
There's this lady. It seems like she's just trying to get into her house.
And look at that. Beating the living shit out of her.
30 people just start beating the shit out of her.
That's attempted murder. You're stomping her in the head. That's attempted murder.
For what reason?
For nothing. Nothing. Zero.
Could you imagine if that were 30 white people beating up a black guy?
Oh, forget it. What do you mean?
Could you imagine what would be happening if that was 30 white guys beating up a transgender
you see her in the middle?
youth?
She's like, I didn't do anything. Boom. And she's just getting stomped out.
This to me is disgusting. If you don't call out shit like this, whether you're black, you're white, you're Asian, you're Latino, you're part of the problem. This is disgusting.
That's the moment. But Chicago, so there's no guns. I wish she had a gun, because I would have shot everybody's ass that's trying to stomp me on my fucking head. That's ridiculous, bro. Yeah, dude, and guess what? She should be moving out of the city. Her next thing, after trying to arrest people and bring them to court, move the hell out of Chicago.
Well, if she's even functional right now, you know that she's going to be interviewed across the board. You know Fox is going to bring her on. And if I'm CNN, if I'm MSNBC, I bring her on also.
Unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable.
You bring her on also? Yeah. You think they're going to bring her on?
Well,
Tate said something.
They should.
There's a difference between, there's a lot of things they should do. They would never talk about the story.
That's bullshit to me.
This is against their narrative.
But that is bullshit to me.
Tate said, imagine living in Chicago on purpose, by choice. Seriously. Imagine being a full-grown adult and waking up in Chicago, looking at the entire globe, and then looking around you at the shithole you reside in and saying, yes, I want to live here. Then somebody responds back and he says this. After tweeting this, thousands of people from Chicago replied something along the lines of, shut up, you wouldn't last a day here without getting shot or robbed, as some sort of defense. Kind of proves my point completely, doesn't it?
Right.
So we agree Chicago is a crime-ridden dump. I mean, listen, that's exactly the point. One of the things that happens is, I had a sales leader I talked to one time, and we're having a back and forth. And I said, you realize who likes you? She says, what do you mean? I said, think about which one of your salespeople like you. She says, who? I said, you're losing your best salespeople and you're keeping the worst ones. You prefer people listening to you and, wanting to just like you and kiss your ass 24/7 over killers that want to compete, dominate, and get to work. You want people to just conform to you and fear you rather than people that want to go compete. You can always tell a person's identity by who they keep and who they lose. We got a lot of vice presidents in our insurance company. I watch some of our guys, and they keep killers, they're a killer. I watch some of our guys. They lose their killers, and they keep their complainers, they're a complainer. It's just what it is. So a city who does things like this, guess what you're going to lose? The person that just wants to go to work and create a business and send their kids to a good school and just do their part. They're not loud. They just kind of want to do their part. Those are very much of positive citizens that you want to keep. You lose those people, you don't have a city. They're going to go to a different place. So, somebody said the other day, there's an article from Insider bashing Florida, and it says something like, remote work is killing Florida as a retirement paradise. Look at the title. Remote work is killing Florida as a retirement paradise. Did you understand the title?
Yeah.
Are you getting what they're trying to say? Okay, so let me read it to you for some of us people that are not Columbia grad, brilliant minds that, let me go to this, page 9. So check this out. Florida's rising home prices are threatening the state's reputation as a retirement haven. Median home values in Florida are up 33% compared to last year, compared to an 18% nationwide increase. The 8 of 10 most overvalued home markets in the U.S. are in Florida. The state has long promoted itself as an affordable retirement paradise, but increasing competition from private investors combined with the rise of remote work has contributed to the work to afford housing, and housing prices threaten to end the middle-class dream of spending final days in Florida. Unless Florida builds more housing and raises wages, the trend of rising home prices may delay young people's retirement plans and threaten the state's economy.
It's so funny.
Who's gonna fall for the shit? The same person that can you let's find out who the writer is. Go find who wrote this article, and let me guess, Gabby, you went to Columbia. Click on her profile.
That's so funny.
No, just click on her name. It's gonna take you there and tell us who she is. Writer, Brooklyn. She worked at The Verge, The Drift, The Bab of the Nations, other publishers. She's a co-founder, editor, and so on. What school did you go to, Gabby? Can we go find out Gabby Del Valle? There's not a lot of them out there. What school did she go to?
We love the Del Valles, though.
Zoom in. This is a different Del Valle. Let me tell you. Gabby is an immigration reporter at Vice News. Makes sense. Prior to Vice, she was a reporter at Vox and writer at Online.
No college.
Daily Beast. All of those things tells you who she is.
Yeah.
All of those things tell you who she is.
What college?
Freelance reporter. Here it is.
What college?
Give us your college.
Come
man.
on,
Give us your
writer.
college. She's had one too many jobs.
New York
University.
University.
There you go. NYU. Okay. Same thing. Okay. Makes sense. Didn't you just talk about NYU earlier?
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. You want to say something like this? Good for you. This whole remote works, bashing Florida as a place to be. Listen, guys, the workers, the independent thinkers, the people that want to be left alone, the badasses you want in your community are moving to places like Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Idaho. I can give you 5 other states, and they're leaving places like Chicago, Illinois, New York, California. I can give you 5 other states they're leaving. It's just what's happening. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this story here?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. I don't understand who would stay there unless it's someone who has to and has no way out, can afford to leave.
Right? Can you imagine? A lot of people are probably in that state.
But it could go back to what you said about American values changing. If your values are, I want to raise a family and put food on the table and make sure my kids grow up to be normal citizens of the world, you would not remain in Chicago. So either people's values are changing and we're not understanding what people are starting to align with, or people simply can't get out. But no one would willingly want to stay there and have a normal, responsible, happy family life.
Right now we're looking at buying 10 to 20 acres to build our campus. And we're talking to Fort Lauderdale. We're looking at Pompano. We're even considering Miami. That's what we're looking at right now. We're going to build our campus. We're going to do movies. We're going to do docs. We're going to do shows. We're going to have our own type of Johnny Carsons that are going to come here. We're going to bring the coolest cats that are willing to have conversations from both sides, that are likable, they're smart, they're intellectual, and they also don't think they know it all, and they're still trying to learn. And we're going to compete. And I cannot tell you how many people around the country message me and say, Pat, are you recruiting? We like you guys and what you're doing, how you guys are. We want to be part of it. People are sick of states that are hurting individuals that just want to be left alone. California just came out with this one policy here, goes full communism, utilities to base what they charge on how much you make. So utilities, if you want to pay electricity in California now, they're going to use a progressive system. The more money you make, your bill is going to be more. Makes you want to move back to California, Vinny.
I'll
right?
go back. Yeah, you should come with me.
California, so 3 utility companies in California have filed a joint proposal to charge customers a flat rate based on their income with reduced usage charges based on consumption. This proposal part of a compliance with 2021 California state government legislation requiring such plans for utilities. The fixed income rate for households would be as low as $15 a month for low-income households and up to $85 more per month for households earning more than $180,000 a year. Critics argue that this initiative is an attempt to implement Marxism and communism, where capitalism is inescapable and the only way to prosperity. They suggest that such policies would incentivize low-income households and penalize those earning more than $180K per year, which would lead to a decline in productivity and the standard of living. That's common sense.
Yes.
Okay? The way he described. Nothing about what he said was out of the ordinary.
No.
Yeah.
Why would somebody stay in California today? Why would somebody stay in California?
The weather and the traffic, Pat. They just love it.
I'm in LA this week.
Are you going this week?
I'm in LA Friday and Saturday. We're going to be in LA. I'm speaking. I think I'm in Corona on Saturday.
When you go back, Pat, how do you like? Be honest. What do you? I mean, you miss it because you're from.
I love it. Do you know what I love?
That you get to leave.
I can close my eyes and drive the freeways. I know every street. I probably drove a few 100,000 miles in California selling policies. And building my business. I love it there. There's the people, the relationships. I'm a Glendale High School kid. You go by the high school and you're looking at the nitros and very proud of being out of 1,000 students class, 880 out of my 1,000 graduating class. Very proud of the GPA and all that stuff that we had. There's a certain element to it, going through all the roads, the streets. We did that once together, right? I'm driving and I'm saying, hey, here's where I went this.
We've done it a few times.
Yeah. And it's great.
The fastest I've ever driven in my life. 165.
By the way, to drive 165 on 405 freeway, which allegedly he's claiming.
I would never. I was just going to say, don't say. People have. Like somebody heard that you were doing.
Keep in mind, it was during COVID, so there was no one on the streets.
So it's a great state, but I'm telling you, more and more people stop me and say, I left my state and moved to Florida after watching the video of how great Florida is. I left my state, and even though you talk about Florida, I chose to move to Tennessee. I moved to Texas. I moved to Idaho. It's happening, and it's going to become more and more and more. So the part about the 6 weeks that we talk about with DeSantis, let's flip it.
Yeah.
Does this cause some people to want to leave Florida? Well, that gets some people to say, I'm sorry, man, I can't live here, okay? Because these policies are also moving me away from the state. I can't do something like this because I do believe good and bad policies are going to force certain people out and attract certain people in. Maybe that is strategic, what he's doing. What do you think?
I mean, if nothing else, he's going to make it a very red state. I mean, I was told in 2016, but even through 2020, that this was still a swing state. Once this passes, those who remain, I mean, that's it. It's a red state. So I think, unfortunately, we're changing the map quite a bit, and now we're learning where you want to live if you're a Republican and where you want to live if you're a Democrat, and there's not a lot of places to go if you just want to be around people who might disagree with you, but, that you might enjoy having dinner with. So that's the unfortunate part, that we're really making states choose what they want to be and making people decide with them.
Well, nobody's more purple here than you, though.
That's fair.
Right?
That's why I go between New York and
Florida.
here. I cannot settle in one spot.
So do you go to New York? Oh, my God, all these red people. And you go to Florida and you go to New York, you're like, oh, my God, all these blue people.
Yeah.
I miss the red. And you go to the red, like, oh, these guys are so annoying. You go back. Is that kind of how you are?
I'm only happy on the plane in the middle.
That's so funny.
The only time that I'm okay.
I like that. So,
that's the first person who said they're happy
to be on an airplane.
Flying on these planes out there these days.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Okay, next story. Let's see what we got next to go through. Do we want to talk a little bit about weed? Let's talk a little bit about weed. So there's a community.
Did you guys talk about the leaked Pentagon stuff, Pat? Did you guys?
Let's be blunt, please.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Blunt.
Legal weed is turning New York workers into zombies.
Great.
Okay. So this is a New York Post story. Let's see what they have to say. So apparently, let me see this thing. Okay. The decriminalization of marijuana has led to widespread use amongst service employees in New York City, resulting in lethargy, disengagement, and forgetfulness. Hey, can you remember to put that on my schedule? I got you.
Yeah.
We're never in the calendar. Minimum wage should be lowered since many workers have become hopelessly stunned at or dumb. Who said that, by the way? There was something at the minimum. Okay, now that's just a quote. So there are several examples of service employees who were stoned up the wazoo and unable to perform their jobs, including a cashier who forgot to give change, a service desk worker who lost a car, and a restaurant server who lost a credit card. The acrid odor of marijuana smoke is everywhere, even in Broadway theaters and subway cars. Progressive politicians are responsible for throwing the city into trash by decriminalizing marijuana and allowing the widespread use of the drug amongst service employees. Do you see that in New York when you go there, or not really?
I smell it.
You smell it?
Yeah.
So you're happier in New York?
I have actually never smoked weed in my life. I've never tried it. Swear to God, I don't know anything about this except my high school friends who would act very similarly to what they're describing here.
You can't say that. You have to admit to everybody here on live podcast.
Promise.
You didn't inhale.
If you live in New York, you smoke weed.
Lie detect. Is that a thing? You can lie detect me right now. I promise. Never in my life.
No. What I'm saying is, my point is more if you're in New York, if you're around friends that are smoking weed, you're getting high.
I knew what they were doing. I wasn't around them.
Oh, okay.
When I was 16, I was sitting at home with a cast on my leg, just trying to figure out how to walk again.
It's funny when I'm around the kids and the kids are like, "Dad, what smell is that?" I said, "That's skunk."
Yeah, it is. It is.
High quality
really
skunk
yeah,
is what that is. Adam, what are your thoughts about this? You may be looking at the story and you may say you would support something like this if DeSantis did this in Florida. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, this story is such bullshit, okay? This is such bullshit.
Why?
Because let me tell you something about these guys, these cash registers, these guys, these Uber drivers. You think they're waiting for fucking weed regulation to start smoking weed?
Yeah.
These guys have been hitting the bong for decades.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not waiting for weed regulation to set in and be like,
You're funny.
Finally, I can smoke
You're
my
funny.
weed. It's just true.
Nobody's saying
smoking
they can't.
it
Nobody.
regardless.
Listen, nobody can say they can't smoke that weed. No one's saying that they can't do it behind closed doors, right? This is legally.
Oh, they're going to do it regardless.
Well, let me ask you a question. If I'm building a company and you got guys that are, hey, I'm going to take a smoke break. They're outside. And all of a sudden, they come back in. Hey, so Johnny, how you doing? Good, man. How you doing? Like, I'm good. So you gonna finish that video? Yeah, boss. I got it. Okay. Dude, what do you, like, 5 o'clock, he forgot, he leaves. And so productivity doesn't go up. There is no...
I'm not saying that there's benefits from doing it.
But the difference is these guys are now smoking legally. There's a difference between... They've been smoking for a while, you're right.
Yes.
But now you're getting into an Uber and you're like, this guy just smoked a joint before me getting in here.
Yeah.
Here we go. Open the windows. No, it's cold. It's New York.
I fully agree with you. But what I'm saying is they're going to do it regardless. Whether it's legal, whether it's illegal, whether they can buy it on the street, whether they can buy it from their drug dealer, they're going to get, if they want to get high, they're going to get a high. They're not waiting for government regulation to set it and be like, finally, I can take my smoke break.
Can I tell everybody what you're doing? I know you know how sometimes you're talking to me, but the audience doesn't know the conversation we just had right before the podcast?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so here's what Adam is requesting, and I haven't yet approved it. Rob, you know about this. This was a lengthy meeting we had.
You're going to reveal our private conversation?
Yes. Are you okay with it if I tell him that?
You know what? I'm a team player.
Adam wants us to do a podcast smoking weed.
In here?
We're not doing it. He wants to do a live podcast smoking weed.
I told you, you and Rogan.
You have a choice between gummies, cookies, and the actual
vape, like
smoking of the weed. And we're not doing it. Now, if Adam wants to do that, it's a different story.
I think the audience would like to see that. I think Oliver Stone wanted to do that. Oliver Stone.
We even brought him a, what do you call it, a humidor we bought for him.
I'm curious to what the chat, if you had to guess the percentage of what the chat would say yes to Pat and everybody smoking weed, or
you don't want me smoking
What do you think it would be? No. What I think it would be 80% or higher.
They want to see Pat have
I think 80%. I'm going to go ahead and say this, Elizabeth. The audience is going to say 85%.
Run a poll. Run a poll. And I'm telling
85.
you, it won't be 80 points.
80%. Come on, guys and girls.
Let me tell you one quick story.
I have a feeling it's going to be 65%.
Guys,
but run a poll. Run a poll. Would you like
up.
to see PBD?
PBD smoke weed with Adam?
I'm telling you, it's going to be 65%.
And Rogan.
If it's
and
no. Just us. Let's just see what they're going to say. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, as much as it seems like I'm defending weed, all I'm saying is these guys are going to be smoking it regardless. I will say that
you just said regard. You said regardless 3 times.
Okay.
You know what I thought about?
What?
Regard Me. You know what movie is Regard Me? Have you seen Couples Retreat?
7
Yeah,
yes.
The yoga, do it.
You're the donkey.
Regard me. You don't know that guy. The reason why I know it's because I just watch it with the kids. By the way, couples retreat. What a movie that is.
Oh, it's
Vince Vaughn,
amazing.
John
East
Favreau?
Island. What
Yeah.
do they do over there? Anyways,
You
go
are,
ahead. Make
you
your
are the
point.
ass.
You are the ass.
Yes. The massage guy? Yes.
I will say that weed, they're making it so strong these days. And I totally can empathize with what they're saying here. Lethargy, disengagement, forgetfulness.
Lethargy? Wait,
Yeah.
you
Lethargy.
make fun of me.
Yeah, it's
For
lethargy.
saying
How do you say
Ahmed.
that?
Lethargic.
Lethargy, not lethargy, folks.
Lethargy.
Adam has lethargy today. And you make fun of this ESL speaking guy, and you had like a 4.0 GPA in high school.
Ahmed.
Lethar-
How do you say that?
Lethargy.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, like someone is lethargic.
Okay, I'm thinking of.
You can never talk about Pat again.
That's it's game over.
Over.
It's over.
I don't want to
This
hear
is it.
ever.
Lethargy? It's not lethargy?
No, but go ahead.
I know
Guys, for the lethargy
I know
community,
lethargic.
Adam's newest product is made out of leather.
It's like you're a leper. Yeah, if you're a leper with lethargy.
Well, I forgot my story. I forgot my train of thought over here. Oh, here's the story. So I remember being in college, smoking weed for like first time.
Yeah.
And super stoned. And now it's even stronger, the weed these days. And I remember being like, all right, I got to go to the store and I got to buy some stuff. So I remember I got in the car, opened the car door, sat in the seat, put my key in the ignition, and I was sitting in shotgun.
That's when you know.
I was like, oh shit. I had to get out of the car, walk around, go into the driver's seat. The whole time I'm thinking, if anyone just saw me.
Could I want to do this fast?
Idiot.
Pat, I'm in the United States Air Force 6 years. Only smoked a couple times before because I have really strict parents. I get out, first day, I do the volcano vaporizer for the people out there that smoke. You know what that is, Pat? It's this big silver thing.
Yeah.
It heats the weed like the vapes now. It fills up a garbage bag. I go, I hit the whole thing, and I'm like, let me drive to Long Beach. I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna go have
This
fun.
thing right here, Vin?
Look at that bag. It
that
fills
is-
up. So Pat, I hit it.
That is
I'm on the
aggressive.
405. I am gone. I'm going like 20 miles an hour. A cop pulls up in front of me, which is always, I'm like, he's supposed to be back there. The cop turns on his lights and he starts doing something called the traffic brake, which you know what that is, right, Pat? When the cop turns on his lights and they start swerving to slow down traffic, I am so high, I just start following the cop. I'm like, let me just start swerving. God, I'm like, are we in a commercial?
get arrested or
no?
no?
He pulled over because there's a
He
bumper.
joined you.
No, he's in front. I'm following
Yeah.
him do this move.
Oh, my.
He pulls over because there's a bumper on the freeway. He gets out. I get out. And I follow him. And I go, officer. He's like, what? I scared the shit. He's like, get the fuck back in your car. He's like, what's your problem? I go, I'm sorry. And I got in the car. I was high as shit. Never smoked after that.
There you go.
Finished. No more weed.
To bring
Done.
this to
Please.
so you don't think we're all just being
Potheads.
lethargic.
Yeah,
over here.
lethargic jacket.
I'd like to know what the kind of tax revenue that the state of New York or even the state of California has actually received from legalizing this, because there is money in this, right?
Oh, they're
In
killing
what?
it. For taxing
No, I
weed.
mean, listen, to be honest, the leather industry, lethargy, it's a big industry.
Yeah.
And then the Middle Eastern community.
How much
is-
California
$1 billion?
tax revenue?
$1,300,000,000.
There you go.
They're killing it, bro.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in weed.
1.3 billion. What about New York?
Oh my God, dude, Pat,
Massachusetts?
You realize how many lethargies come from all that
Yeah.
money?
It's permanent. That's
It's a
stick. It's made to
permanent
stick. That's not going away.
lethargies.
Okay. All right. So, Adam, you got that out of your system?
What's the
You're
poll?
good?
Rob, what was the poll?
Be all right.
All right. So, 10 priciest cities in the U.S. where a $300,000 salary feels like $100,000 a year. Okay. Let's look at this. 10 priciest. And let's see how many of the cities of Florida are on this list. So, if you want to go to it, priciest 10 cities. Number 1 is New York City. $312,000 a year is the equivalent of $100,000.
What?
Holy shit. So Hawaii is also 312. Do you have this or no? If you can show the stats, Hawaii is 312. San Francisco is 311. Then it's Oakland. Why would you? That's insane.
Oakland?
LA
What?
245. Rob, what are you doing to us here? Okay, there we go.
Oakland is right.
Rob, did you
Oakland
smoke weed and get lethargy?
Oakland 246, LA 245, Long Beach, DC, San Diego, Boston, Seattle. Interesting. Okay, go to the other side, which is what? The 10 cheapest cities. The 10 cheapest cities is, okay, there you go. Number 1, Memphis, Tennessee. Wow. El Paso 2, Oklahoma City, Corpus Christi, Lubbock, Texas. Shout out to Daniel. Houston, Texas. Houston, 125. That's pretty wild to be thinking. Look how many Texas is in there. Texas. 1, 2, 3. If you're a Leaders Bolton guy, 7 out of 10 is Texas. They're dominating. Okay, that's pretty wild. So in other words, if you want to feel rich, move to Texas. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
If you want to, do not go to California. Texas is dominant. By the way, there's no Florida on either.
Nope.
Not Miami. I thought Miami would have been on the what do you call
Expensive.
it? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah, because people don't make $100,000 in Miami.
So if we're gonna go based on this, we're opening up a studio in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay,
So we're gonna go to Memphis and Valuetainment.
I'm ride or die, so let's go.
You're getting content from that place. By the way, I'm surprised Houston's on this list.
Me too.
Because Houston's got $20-30 million homes. You got oil. It's now the third largest city in America, just passed up Chicago.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Houston?
Houston's blowing
Houston
up.
passed up Chicago.
Bigger than Dallas?
What are you
Are you joking?
Shit, I mean, you're coming
Adam,
at me.
what did you have for
He
breakfast?
smoked and he's lethargy. He's lethargy.
Houston is bigger than Dallas? I think
Please tell me you're joking.
I mean, when you think of Texas, you think of Dallas.
Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
Nobody thinks of the Houston.
Can you type in top 10 largest cities in America population? All right, this is pretty interesting.
Population.
Oh, you mean what? You thinking?
He's lethargy. He's there again.
Chicago.
This is what year? Houston just passed up Chicago.
Largest. Wow.
Yeah, Houston's
Houston's
what?
up
4.
there,
Go
dude. Wow.
Dallas population. Go Dallas population.
So Houston's 2,300,000.
Dallas,
1.28
low
million.
key.
It's just low.
I don't think anybody would think that Houston is that big.
I'm not gonna.
When you think of major cities, you do not think of Houston.
Well, Houston has double. Damn. I didn't know that.
What?
Yep. 2.288.
You're telling me when you think of major U.S. cities, Houston is on your list?
I wouldn't have thought that.
Maybe if you're a Hakeem Olajuwon fan, but no. Sorry.
Wait, you wouldn't want to live in Houston?
That's not what I said.
It's a little
No,
wild.
well,
I've been there.
I don't want to live in Houston. I'm good in Miami. I'm good.
Pat, what do you think the poll was for you smoking weed?
I totally forgot.
70?
About it.
Where we at?
Totally forgot about it,
Where
man.
we at?
That's
Yeah,
lethargy.
you're lethargy. 60. Oh, it dropped?
Told you.
60.
People want to see
What
it.
did I say, by the way?
You said 60.
I said 65.
You know your audience.
So
but
61,
Well, wait till the
39.
end of the podcast to see
All right.
how it looks out.
See what happens.
but that means yes. Yeah, I can't believe
There's some late
46
bloomers out
said
there.
no.
61, yes. 35, no.
That's still
about
a favor.
61, 39, no.
I know you said that you're going to do whatever the audience decides.
Yeah,
so
you said-
whatever.
You said that. You want to smoke. You can smoke it, but
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah. What do you mean, you people? For 400 years.
Get cheesed. Get cheesed, Pat.
Robert
Sage
Downey
is
Jr.
hilarious. Oh, man.
So where are you at with these cities, by the way? When you see stuff like this?
The cities. No, if I'm right now, if I am somebody that is not in the best of place financially, and I'm thinking about having a family and raising a family, if I'm doing okay financially, I'm moving to Florida. Okay, I'm moving to Tennessee. You know, if I'm not doing well financially and I can't afford private school, and I'm thinking next 10, 20 years where I'd like to go, pick a city in Texas. It's a great place to go to. Dallas is a great place. Plano, if you can live in Plano, phenomenal city. Dallas got a lot of great places to be living in. Houston's got a lot of great places to be living in. We got a couple of our guys that moved to Houston. Austin is very different. Austin is not Texas. A lot of people think Austin is Texas until they go to Austin, and then they realize Austin is more San Francisco.
Really?
Austin?
Like
A
like
lot of
San
people-
Francisco.
Austin is not Texas.
Austin is weird.
Like,
Some may
wait,
say that they want to keep
Pat,
it weird.
Unpack that, like, because I've been to all these cities to do comedy shows, but what's the difference between Austin compared to like a Dallas or like a Houston? What is it?
Austin?
It's more
Yeah.
hipster.
Oh,
Oh God, really?
You don't know how
Hey, no,
liberal?
I've never been to Austin. I've been to every other
What?
place.
Oh, so
I swear
here's
to
what
God.
we're gonna do. We'll go to Joe's new club.
Okay.
We'll go visit him. I want to
Okay.
give him a gift.
Okay.
We'll go to his new club.
Okay.
And we'll also go around Austin.
Please.
See what it's like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Austin
I've
is
not-
as
it's crazy because
Are you
liberal
serious?
as
I
it
swear to
gets.
God, I've never been to Austin. I've been
Austin's
everywhere
very
else.
different.
Let me tell you-
Austin's very
But do you
different.
like? Is it like towards a positive or towards a negative? Because if you say San Francisco, I don't want to even be there.
What do I like about Austin?
Yeah.
I mean, would I live there? Is if what you're asking?
Well, you're saying how do you compare it to San Francisco?
It is Texas's version of San Francisco.
That's what it is.
It's the best way to put it.
Liberal, like
Oh,
you know.
really?
You know, it's by the way, Austin is also the Silicon Valley of
Yes.
Texas as well. So it's silicon.
Silicon.
Yeah.
Not silicon.
Not
Lethargy. That's one of my words that they correct me on. Silicon Valley.
So if it's so liberal and so like that, why would somebody like Joe Rogan go there? Which is, I think that's where I'm confused.
Because it's not California.
Well, obviously nothing. Yeah. I mean, but
because it's California without the policies.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's California without the policies.
Got you. Okay, I want to go.
By the way, he moved to the right place for him.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And his comedy club,
the mothership.
I said, Joe, how's the comedy club? 8 months sold out. I mean, you can't get tickets.
It's crazy because he'll add a show and then it'll be sold out without minutes.
Seconds.
What?
Yeah, you're talking about, what he's done to comedy. This is like, like where's the place basketball players wanted to go play in New York? Rucker Park. Rucker Park,
yeah.
Right? Like this is the Rucker Park of comedy.
Wow.
It's crazy. Last night they posted a photo of a drop-in comedian. Guess who the drop-in comedian was? Bill Burr.
What?
Bill Burr just drops in and does a spot.
Oh my God.
By the way, that's kind of like in New York saying, guys, there's going to be a player showing up tomorrow. Kevin Durant shows up. It's kind of like, hey, come and play with Kevin Durant.
That's what happens at the Comedy Cellar in New York. You know that.
Pat, I want to go to Austin, please.
Yeah.
I'm in.
By the way, you got to play a game when you're in Austin.
Okay.
It's called Homeless or Hipster.
Oh God.
You just got to guess.
Guess who's who?
Is that guy homeless or hipster? I was 3 for 10. I just couldn't figure it out.
Know who's who?
I'm like, that guy is definitely homeless.
wait.
He's like, I own a tech company.
But wait, when you played this game, were you smoking and were you lethargic?
No,
Whatever.
no,
what
no,
word
no,
is that?
No.
Okay, let's try to hit 2 more stories.
But by the way, what would be good is these stories. This why people are fleeing blue cities for red states. This is kind of basically proving your point.
You want to go to that?
Well, it's just essentially it's doubling down.
And by the way, it's New York Times, which this is once where New York Times is.
And the Daily Mail.
All right, let's go to New York Times and let's see what they got to say. Here we go. Why people are fleeing blue cities for red states. Okay. Fastest growing states in the U.S. between 2010 and 2020 were mostly red states like Texas, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina. The trend accelerated during the pandemic, and most of the population gaining states are governed by Republicans. These states are more pro-business and have lower taxes and fewer restrictions on home construction, resulting in lower housing prices and more job opportunities. The growth in these states is mostly in their metro areas, which are often blue cities, in red states. Republican policies provide the general business climate, but Democrats at the local level influence the schools, social services, and civic atmosphere that attracts highly educated workers. A red-blue mashup seems to work with the conservative states' authorities at odds with the more liberal city authorities over things like minimum wage laws and LGBTQ rights. Okay, so they're kind of trying to suggest and say, hey guys, like we understand you guys are kicking our asses, but what would be better is if you guys are willing to work with us a little bit. That's kind of how I read this article. Mm-hmm. But is anyone surprised who's moving to red states? No. Is this like a story where you're sitting there being flabbergasted saying, oh, wow, shocking?
No.
People like lower taxes. People like lower regulation. People like it when the government stays out of the business of how you want to parent and raise your kids. These are all like you said something. You said, I want to go back to what? You said the America, not America First policy. You were talking about what America was founded on, the policies that were,
Yeah, the values that my parents escaped the Soviet Union to be a part of, to raise me in, that I wish to God will exist when I have kids one day,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hurry up because it's like,
right. Oh my God,
what these guys are up to now. These crazy things are happening. Okay, so are you good with that story? Did you have a comment or did you just want to?
Well, I love the quote by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Nassim Taleb. He says, "I am at the federal level libertarian, right? At the state level Republican, essentially this.
Right.
At the local level Democrat, caring about your community, I guess, and at friends and family level a socialist." So there's minutia in all this. If saying that doesn't convince you of the fatalness of the left and the right labels, nothing will. So it kind of just different strokes for different folks. But to prove to that point, get out of my way. Let me just do my thing as a libertarian from the federal government, from the state government. Obviously, if they're pro-business, people are moving to these states. But in your family, maybe you can be a little bit more left-leaning and give stuff away.
Yeah.
Very close family.
You touched me. Did you?
Yeah.
Were you signaling?
That was a signal.
Family.
Yeah.
I think he makes sense.
This is the first time we've had 2 Jews and 2 Assyrians on our podcast. Yep. I feel like mishbucha here. I feel like family. Yeah. We're having a great time.
I love it.
Yeah.
And a proud boy.
Yeah. That was perfect. perfect.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm just so thankful you got out of January 6th.
You get to pick the story. You want to talk about Walmart shutting down 4 stores in Chicago? Do you want to talk about India population surpassing China? Do you want to talk about new Massachusetts bill would give companies with a 4-day work weeks tax incentives? Or do you want to talk about AI's threat to humanity will be far greater if China masters it first? Which one do you want?
Let's do AI.
Okay, so let's do that one. So AI's threat to humanity will be far greater if China masters it first. Gordon Shan, who knows something about China. He lived there as a lawyer for, I think, 19 or 20 years. Okay, so according to China expert Gordon Shan, AI poses a direct threat to humanity, but it'll be more of a threat to humanity if China masters it before we do. China's proposed measures to ensure AI development adheres to socialist values and does not disrupt the economic or social order may also hinder its AI development. Furthermore, China's politically repressive system that relies on censorship is not conducive to AI development, and AI may not react well to such restrictions. Chinese tech firms like Alibaba and Baidu have created bots to rival banned AI products like OpenAI's ChatGPT. Finally, China's great AI capabilities and access to vast amounts of data give it a built-in advantage to AI development, creating an arms race and lowering global standards. Thoughts?
Yeah. What was the quote? That it's dangerous if China masters us before we do. I think that stands for anything. That's not just AI. Anything that China masters before America does is probably going to kill us. I have been convinced for years that technology will take my life, so this is further proof. I am terrified of all this stuff. I don't understand it. I don't know why people trust it so blindly, and I don't know why we're okay having it when we know that countries like China, Russia, Iran, everyone else has it as well, possibly at a higher level.
Is that why you use an Nextel? You're still using old school phones? She's still got the flip, folks, if you can't see the phone.
I wish, yeah.
But isn't it scary, Pat, when you have people like, Elon Musk saying, like, listen, I'm involved with it and I'm going to be making a shitload of money off of it, but it's going to be dangerous. And they're giving you the warning sign right now that it's going to be taking over. There's already, mind you, I'm seeing robots working. By the way, did you see that one robot, Pat? It was working at some warehouse and it just fell over from being overworked. Did you see that, Adam?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, this is the clip where he's saying, like, what?
This is Elon was on Tucker last night, and they talked about AI regulation. And Elon brings up a great point about regulation. If you want me to play this real quick,
yeah, go for it. Rob, your audio is very low, so raise it.
AKA loud.
Go ahead.
And we're only putting regulations after something terrible has happened. It may be too late to actually put the regulations in place. The AI may be in control at that point.
You think that's real? It is conceivable that AI could take control and reach a point where you couldn't turn it off and it would be making the decisions for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, that's definitely where things are headed, for sure. I mean, the things like say ChatGPT, which is based on GPT-4 from OpenAI, which is a company that I played a critical role in creating, unfortunately.
Back when it was a nonprofit?
Yes. I mean, the reason OpenAI exists at all is that Larry Page and I used to be close friends, and I would stay at his house in Palo Alto, and I would talk to him late into the night about AI safety. And at least my perception was that Larry was not taking AI safety seriously enough.
What did he say about it?
He really seemed to be one sort of digital superintelligence, basically digital God, if you will, as soon as possible.
He wanted that?
Yes. He's made many public statements over the years that the whole goal of Google is what's called AGI, artificial general intelligence, or artificial superintelligence. And I agree with him that there's great potential for good, but there's also potential for bad. I said, well, what about, we're going to make sure humanity's okay here. And then he called me a speciesist.
Did he use that term?
Yes. And there were witnesses. I wasn't the only one there when he called me a speciesist. And so I was like, okay, that's it. Yes, I'm a speciesist. Okay, you got me. What are you? Yeah, I'm fully a speciesist. Busted.
It's a new word that I just learned today as well.
By the way, go ahead. So you see this. How do you feel about what he's saying here?
Well, the whole point is that he brings up regulations, but the only time that we put regulations in place is after something tragic happens. Are we going to wait with AI until something tragic happens before we start regulating it? And if that's the case, it may be too soon. At that point, the AI could become self-aware, self-conscious, and then how do you shut it down?
So I got a question for everybody here, and let's just see what angle we take this. Okay, so his concern is he's trying to pump the brakes on AI. Okay, fine. So would you rather have, let's just say you pump the brakes on AI on private sector. Entrepreneurs, you got to pump the brakes on AI. Is the government also going to pump the brakes?
Never.
Okay, so they're not going to pump the brakes. Would you rather, you have three options. Private cannot go to AI. It's overly regulated, but the U.S. government can. Mm-hmm. Okay? Both private and public can go AI and let her rip, okay? Meaning like go for it. You can do as much as you want. Government can do it and private can do it. Which one of those two? It's just going to be two. Which of those two would you rather prefer? Are you trusting more private with AI or public with AI?
Well,
Elizabeth, I'll go to you first. Which one do you prefer? It's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's hard.
I mean,
because what he's saying is he's pumped the brakes. The government's not going to pump the brakes. So you're telling privates pump the brakes on AI. Mm-hmm. So who is going to pump the brakes? Mm-hmm. Right. Do I want them to monitor everything, but you don't want us to go and impose? So who's going to stop, who's not?
No, that's fair. If there's no way to get the government to stop, which there never is, then we must continue and hopefully have more experience.
I agree.
Than they do.
I agree with her. Because I mean, yeah, you can't. This is such a slippery slope because it's like everything that all those movies, all those iRobots, and all the warnings of what they're doing, it's coming out into our face, and we're seeing it. I'm telling you right now, Pat, it's happening like fast. There was a documentary called The Transcendental Man by something. If you could look it up, he warned Pat of the Artilect war, not him. Other people in the documentary. Artificial intelligence against us.
You're getting
a little choked up.
You good?
This AI,
I'm getting lethargy.
I'm getting verklempt.
I'm getting verklempt. But that's the future, and it's scary. And the guy they're warning, it's coming, and it's gonna happen. It's happening faster and faster. And one of his points was, when we look at an ant, Pat, you don't think twice. You just go, and the ant dead, right? That the robot is going to get millions and millions and millions of times smarter than us, where that robot's going to turn on us and be like, who are you?
Yeah.
Telling me what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Elon brings that up in the interview. He says if humans wanted to go around and kill every chimp, we could kill every chimp because we're strong. We may not be stronger than chimps, but we're smarter than chimps. We're the smartest species on this earth.
Yep.
What happens when there's something smarter than us?
Then we're smoking like a true specious.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just care about humanity.
And then,
don't you?
Yeah, so this guy's all about the future in this documentary, but all the other people in the documentary are like, this guy is nuts. You're asking for the end of humanity because robots are going to take over. So,
well, I think every industry has regulation. SEC, FINRA, the EPA. There needs to be some sort of regulation here. I mean, even crypto needs to be regulated right now. But I mean, I think you bring up a good point about government versus private industry.
You say crypto needs to be regulated right now?
I think there is. I'm not a fan of central bank digital currencies, but I think there needs to be some sort of regulation out there. I mean, even everything that just happened with the Silicon Valley Bank, they lifted regulations, disaster. So, but they're also, to your credit, the famous the meme. You ever seen that meme? Let me see, where it's like these two guys are talking, and the guy goes, "Did you hear about the new bill, or do you support the new bill?" And he's like, "What new bill?" He's like, "It's the bill that gives the government the no."
No,
like I'm not in favor of it. I don't want if the government.
No.
So I don't know if you can find that.
Were you going somewhere?
But there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a public-private partnership and an agreement on what the hell's going on with this AI. I don't know about AI enough to even to weigh in on this, but I do trust Elon Musk on this.
Well, I mean, I don't trust anybody that created it. Now is like, that's like making a gun and going like, hey, I don't trust it. Now you made the gun. You know what I mean? Like, and the hell with the government or the private. The machine itself is going to be superior than us. That's the fear. That's the genuine fear, is this machine saying, who are you to tell me what to do? And I have the power and the ammunition to take over you. That's the fear. So I don't care who has it. Once the machine becomes too smart, it's a wrap.
Right. And you're talking about the one made possibly here. Imagine the one made by the Chinese.
Oh, forget it. Forget it. And
that's a different level.
Wow. So I don't know. Have fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we can fully put a pause to innovation, and I don't know if I fully feel comfortable saying you can innovate, but I can't.
Right.
And hey, I'm smarter, and I'm going to be more under control because I'm not driven by power. let me try to see what I can do with this technology. And I'll tell you in a couple of years how it's going to help you because I'm the government and I'm here to help you. You know, it's just a very honorable thing to say. We know when we look at the last time the U.S. population trusted the government the most, this guy named John was president, and his last name is Kennedy.
Yeah.
And it was 72% or 70%. Today it's in the 20s. People don't trust the U.S. government today. It's just period. You know, the weaponization, spying, all this stuff. It's just like, look, we don't trust what you got going on right now. We kind of want to leave that part alone. I will say it's when an Elon says it, you got to give it credibility. He started it. You know, it's like when the vaccine guy who started the vaccine, he's sitting there now saying, like, there's a lot of people that invented a product, and they turn around and they say, I wasn't too happy about what I produced. Not necessarily the vaccine, but certain things that they invent. Maybe Elon is somebody we ought to listen to. But how we go about it is the issue. I'm not comfortable with it being fully deregulated. But again, we're going to see what's going to happen. Apparently, according to this former, model that Harvard and University of Pennsylvania, we're going to die because of technology.
I said I was going to die.
We have to stop it. We have to figure out a way to stop it. And Elizabeth's got a message to folks in D.C. and this guy named Elon. Okay, we should listen to that. So we're about to wrap up. I do want to admit to something. It's going to be very hard to do this. As a man who's very proud, and there's ego involved, and all these other things, lethargic is the proper way to not pronounce it, but it is lethargy. Just so you know, it is. So Adam was right.
So we're over here making fun of him the whole time.
So if you want to go,
what just happened here?
If you want to go, relax, pump the brakes. I'm giving you this. Go on Google, type in the word LETH, pronounce, and let Google tell us. This is a very interesting.
Maybe just go to ChatGPT and see what they have to say.
Hang on, let's hear it. Go ahead, show it to us.
Lethargy.
Exactly. So very disappointed. It's lethargic. But apparently it is lethargy. We have a big ESL community that follows us. We don't want people going around saying lethargy. It's lethargy.
Don't give up on your dreams. You're going to have haters out there. You're going to have people. They're going to shit on you, tell you that you're an idiot, that you're wrong.
I promise you.
If you believe in lethargy, you double down on that.
For every one word you mispronounce or you're accused of it, I get 10 coming this way. Okay?
Well, amid all these accusations that I don't know.
It is what it is, man. So, okay.
What was the name of the book, Pat?
Elizabeth, if you want to tell us about your book and as well as some of the projects you're working on so the audience can follow you, if you can maybe tell us about this book, Finding My Place.
Yeah. It's called Finding My Place, Making My Parents' American Dream Come True. I think that kind of gives you the gist right there, but it's kind of a story about me, but mostly why I am who I am, which mostly can be summed up in because my parents left the Soviet Union and risked everything, lost a lot, so I could be here. So thank you for everyone's support, and you can follow me at Elizabeth Pipko anywhere you get social media.
Elizabeth Pipko. So it's not a common name is what you're saying?
It is not, no.
Okay, so put that Elizabeth Pipko, Twitter, Instagram, put all the links below. It's great having you on. We had a lot of fun here. Today's podcast was a little weird because we laughed a lot. And we learned English. Who would have guessed? Yeah. Gang, we're doing this again on Thursday. I think Thursday will be home team with Tom being on with us here. We got a lot of business topics to talk about this Thursday. Have a good one. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.